Alright, what's going on, folks? Hello, it's Dial Plays here today. We're going to be taking a look at some tournament action, so strap yourselves in. Let me know, guys, by the way, on the quality of the stream. If it looks good, I mean, obviously you can just see the background right now, but if it's super laggy, I haven't streamed yet on my new PC setup, so all these settings are more or less experimental, so you guys let me know if I need to change anything. So now we just need to get into a game here, so let's see. Alright, and it looks like we're in. Maybe not. We'll take a look at another one here. Let's see. Alright, so I think we've got a game. We're first going to be taking a look at Kark versus Xiphos, I believe, here. And I'll get their faction matchups in just a moment. Let's see here. Alright. You'll have to forgive me. I just kind of set this up on a whim because I happen to be up at the time when the tournament is starting, which not always the case, but since I went on vacation, came back, my sleep schedule's all out of whack, so I'm actually awake this time of day, which is kind of nice. Got some good multiplayer battles in this morning, and yeah. Gonna be showing those off later, probably coming out today and tomorrow. And for now, we're gonna be looking at this tournament. So, Kark is going to be taking Empire, and it looks like Xiphos is going with Arguelon here. Xiphos has yet to load in, but very interesting. How are y'all folks doing this morning, or afternoon, or evening, or wherever you are in the world, whatever time it is? I'm doing pretty fantastic. Definitely have to say I am pretty pleased with how my vacation went, and yeah, everything was a lot of fun. Managed to get a lot of good content out in the meantime. I know a lot of you guys really enjoyed the tier list I did, even though I don't think tier lists are valuable. It was still kind of fun to do, and so I'll probably keep expanding on that, doing some more discussion related content. I really do enjoy doing that sort of thing, so yes indeed. It'll be a bit before we can get the games going. Obviously, people have got to load in and so on, get their armies picked up. Hey, Yosef, how's it going? We got Blurgan here. So we're going to be taking a look at what's going down. I'm very interested to see how this goes here. So the tournament format, for those of you who are curious, we can go ahead and bring this over here and go ahead and switch back over here. So this is the challenge page here, and basically it's a Swiss style, so everyone plays let's see, how many rounds? 1, 2, 3, 4 rounds, and yeah, you'll play every game. Even if you win or lose, it's just a best of one, and everyone has picked a faction to use throughout the tournament. As you can see here, we're in this matchup, Kark with the Empire and Xiphos with Arguelon. So we'll get back to it. I have the screen blocker up currently to hide their armies, so ooh, maybe not. There we go. Now it's actually hiding the armies. But yeah. No worries, Liam. Totally understand. You know, for those of you guys in other parts of the world, probably a little bit tough to watch. You know, given the time of day, but the VOD of the stream will be going up after the fact, so feel free to watch, you know, after the fact. Doing very well, Yosef. Thank you for asking. The vacation was much needed. Good time to go recharge the batteries. Like I said, I'm going to be posting pictures on my Twitter, and if I had access to the community tab on Facebook, I might post some pictures there as well. But we were at Lake Powell, which is in southern Utah. For those of you who are not familiar, most people know about the Grand Canyon, right? It's basically like the Grand Canyon. Just above the Grand Canyon in terms of the river is an area where there's more canyons, more huge deep canyons, and they're kind of spread out over a large area. What they did is at the top of the Grand Canyon they built a dam, and they filled that area up, so there's this huge lake that's basically like in the Grand Canyon, and you can go there and like camp, you know, kayak, obviously wakeboarding, you know, skiing, all that stuff. But we had a houseboat. So a houseboat, for those of you not familiar, is basically just like a huge camper on the water. We go park it somewhere on the lake, you know, some secluded spot. And this lake is huge. It's like 600, 700 square miles, something crazy like that. But we just post up, chill on a boat for a few weeks. You know, I was watching my comments, responding to a few things, but in general I was just kind of taking a break from social media, from my day job, from YouTube, so it was definitely much needed, and I feel very recharged, so to speak. But yeah, glad y'all are here with me today. We're going to be getting this battle underway shortly. Once again, Kark versus Xiphos with Empire versus Arguelon, so hopefully we'll see some Daddy Durthu here with the Firebark Elders. I've noticed the Firebark Elders are just such a good unit. Really good regiment of renown because of their melee defense, but don't know how to swim. Yeah, I could see that. Just wear a life jacket, though. I mean, a lot of the time, if you're wakeboarding and doing stuff like that, you would want to wear a life jacket anyway, but even if you don't swim, there's still plenty to do. I mean, you're basically in the Grand Canyon in you know, southern Utah, southwest U.S., which is kind of the iconic like red rocks and stuff. So if you want to hike around and go explore, you know, there's a lot to do that way as well. Yeah, but I definitely understand not wanting to swim. I work for a Brazilian steakhouse. I'm a I guess a trainer, I guess is what you would call my title for a Brazilian steakhouse. So yeah. It's a lot of fun. I enjoy cooking quite a bit, and Brazilian food in particular is just amazing, so. Yep, looks like these guys are just about ready to get underway here, so we're going to be starting the battle up shortly. Climbing. Oh yeah, if you like climbing, I mean, there's tons of rock climbing walls, like huge cliffs. I mean, obviously there's a little bit less stuff too, and some areas can be a bit tricky because there's a lot of slick sandstone, but yeah, there's definitely a lot of great rock climbing there for sure. That's the great thing about Lake Powell, is there's pretty much something for everyone, you know, regardless of what you like doing, as long as it's something to do with the outdoors. Besides skiing, obviously, it's kind of in the middle of the desert, so there's no snow, but you know, any climbing, rock climbing, you know, free climbing, anything to do with water, camping, hiking, even like backpacking and stuff. Great spot. Lore pack, yeah, 2019. I mean, it's a bit unfortunate, but it is what it is. You know, I think that we're kind of seeing the effects of Norska, and it's tough. Creative Assembly, I think, put themselves in a bit of a tough situation with, because Total War Warhammer 1 had such good, consistent DLC support, you know, 1 month after another, it sort of set an expectation that that was going to be the case going forward, even though Creative Assembly never necessarily said that would be the case. So it's interesting, you know. It's definitely unfortunate. Hopefully, you know, they can try and speed up the timetable a little bit, but as far as the game is right now, because, and this is sort of a comparison from 1 to 2 a little bit as well, because there's so much more in the game right now, there's so many more factions and matchups, and even in the campaign, I mean, if you just look at playing one campaign of each faction in Mortal Empires, that would probably take you from now until 2019, realistically. I mean, there's just so much content there that I really feel like they don't necessarily need to put out content as quickly. I mean, I wish they did, don't get me wrong, but it, you know, it is what it is. They're certainly working on a lot of other things right now, and I'm always of the opinion is they need to take time to make sure they get it right. Yeah, I would like to see more frequent bug fixes and some other changes to multiplayer. You know, like Turin mentioned in his discussion video, I'd like to see sort of shorter seasons here. But, oh man, it looks like we're all in the same game here. Me and Shetland and Help, and everyone is all in the same game. That's kind of funny, but... yeah, I would like to see more frequent bug fix updates, but I understand Creative Assembly's viewpoint about the matter, that it's more efficient for them, especially because they're a smaller studio working on some big projects, multiple different big projects, that it's easier for them to push out updates when they have more content. But, you know, it's a bit unfortunate, but at least we'll be getting a new faction DLC. Hopefully, you know, August or September is probably my prediction for that. Maybe as late as October, but I think they'll want to push out something, you know, in the meantime, so. Oh, no, Great Book of Grudges, no. I don't watch any anime. They're still loading in, but thank you for reminding me here. And we are on the Golden Monolith, so y'all can admire this great golden effigy here. So yeah, let's go ahead and have a look at the army comps. For the Empire, General of the Empire on foot. Not too surprising there against the Wood Elves. He's gone very cheap and wide. Lots of State Troops, Swordsmen, and Spearmen. Some Crossbowmen. We've got Zittler's Reichsguard, Empire Knights, some Knights of the Blazing Sun. He's got a Bright Wizard up in the air. Excuse me. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Just a super wide Empire army. For the Wood Elves here, we've got Glade Lord. We've got some Eternal Guard, 4 of them. Looks like no shields. Got 1, 2, 3 Way Watchers. 1 War Dancer with swords. We've got 4 Dryads, Wild Riders, and 1 Sister of Thorns. So very, very interesting stuff. I'm genuinely curious to see how this goes. This is such a wide Empire army, and it doesn't have a lot of high-value targets, so these Way Watchers are really going to have to pick and choose their engagements carefully. You know, the Wild Riders are definitely a danger to the light State Troop infantry, but if he can stay close with these Cav without getting shot by the Way Watchers, you know, he can definitely fend off those Wild Riders, but it's going to be interesting to see how it gets played out here. So... yeah, it's a fun one. It's a fun one. I think this is one of Sigvald's quest battle maps, if I'm not mistaken. Sisters of Thorn, pretty solid pick in this matchup. You'll have to watch out for something like Silver Bullets, but they can definitely kite Cav very effectively and do a lot of damage to them. They're also pretty good in melee, so it looks like the battle's getting underway here. And we'll see Knights immediately going to be pushing up on the flank here, and the Empire force just generally rushing forward here. These Way Watchers are going to be falling back. Looks like firing volleys off at the Empire Knights. Not too surprising there. Not as expensive as the Knights of the Blazing Sun, but still a relatively expensive unit, especially in comparison to the State Troops here, so you want to be careful about that. Spellsinger, looks like that fireball was going after her, but didn't contact, ended up doing a little bit of contact to the Way Watchers, but didn't actually take out any unit models there. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. This just State Troop rush, the Way Watchers are going to have to do something here, try and target something to try and stop this, because it's a lot of value that's going to have to struggle to find any value in the opposing force. Looks like they're shooting at Crossbowmen here, which is just such a cheap unit. I really don't think it's worthwhile. But Sisters of Thorn kind of zoning out on this flank. He's got some Eternal Guards pushing through as well. The Dryads will actually be pretty solid at dealing with the State Troops. They've got okay-ish combat stats, although their 24 melee defense is not great. They do have 60 armor and some physical resistance as well, so there's definitely some positives there. Look like another fireball. Actually, I don't know if that was directly targeting the Way Watchers, but it did actually make contact and take out 4 unit models there, so not too bad at all. State troops just inexorably pushing forward here, and I really like this build from Kark. You know, this is usually how I tend to play against the Wood Elves as well with the Empire. Just try and go super wide and, you know, do as much damage that way. The War Dancers, though, are definitely going to be a danger. They're going to get in here and just cut through these state troops with no issues, especially with the Dryads enveloping this flank here. So, front line in other pockets, you can see these state troop swordsmen actually doing very well against those Dryads there. Ooh, a very nice burning head going down from Kark's Fire Wizard there. But, ooh, a nice Prey of Anathrema as well, netting down those Knights of the Blazing Sun there. Despite the fact that these Zitner's Reichsguard have got on the back line, compromising this unit of Way Watchers and doing a lot of damage. The Sisters of Thorn and Wild Riders are on station, pitting them up against this unit of Eternal Guard, though there are more Knights of the Blazing Sun and Empire Knights on their way. They're slowed down by the Curse of Onrare, so let's see. These Way Watchers are going to be blundering directly into their path, but ooh, doing some devastating damage there. So yeah, it's not looking great for the Empire. That engagement initially looked very favorable, but those Way Watchers just being able to stay secure here, and very good use of those Wild Riders to kind of countercharge there and take out the cavalry of the Empire. You can see a Fireball going down on that. Spellsinger actually makes very solid contact, but at this point, it's going to be pretty tough for the Empire to come back from this. You can see the crossbowmen in the backline getting compromised by the War Dancers. They definitely need to start pulling back and kind of kiting a little bit here, but the Dryads are also pushing through, so it's going to be tough to resecure those crossbowmen. And all this Empire cav in the backline is just getting routed off, so some really smart play by Xiphos, turning what could have potentially been a very bad situation around. So very good stuff. I do think this is probably going to go to the Wood Elves, although, you know, balance of power still not completely at army losses yet, so we will see. Alright, so yeah, these Empire Knights definitely in for rough stuff. They're getting chased off by the Sisters of Thorn, looks like, in the Wild Riders, so they're not going to be coming back. There are some more Knights of the Blazing Sun pushing through, though, and it doesn't take much to compromise War Dancers. There's also some swordsmen here, so, you know, Kark definitely fighting back here. He's not quite out of this, although it is definitely looking pretty grim. Ooh, another solid hit on that Spellsinger there. And I like the Fireball in case of Dryads, but looks like Kark is going to admit defeat there, and it will be victory for the forces of Argolon, and no Durthu, sadly, but very fun stuff. Yeah, just the Cav getting shot down by the Way Watchers was really what you needed to avoid as much as possible, and those War Dancers, man, in the center just really cut up those state troops quite badly. I know the crossbowmen were trying to focus them down, but they just, between the Spellsinger's healing and everything else, they just weren't able to do so quite effectively enough. So yeah, well played to both players. Let's go ahead and jump to another game here. Hey Gary, good to see you. How's it going? Welcome, welcome. Alright. So let's go ahead and look at the challenge page and see if there's anyone who has not yet played. Looks like Raim's perhaps still waiting for his opponent. Let's see here. Who else is already finished? I don't know that anyone in this current round is not started yet, but let's see here. Okay, looks like there might be a few games we can get into here. Let's see here. Yeah, Yosef, it is kind of their catch-22, and it's pretty well thematic as well. You know, that's kind of the case because it's how they were in tabletop. But yeah, it makes it really tough to fight against swarm factions. That's for sure. But let's see here. Looks like H45 dropped. That is unfortunate. That is unfortunate. Alright, so at this point we're probably just going to be waiting for the next round, considering we're just about finished with this round here. So there are still a handful of games. We're waiting on 3 different games here. But yes, indeed, it is Dov Streams. So hope you all liked that tier list video. I know I enjoyed doing it, even though I don't necessarily think that tier lists are wildly valuable, at least in Total Warhammer 2 as it is right now. But yeah, it was definitely fun to do, and it seemed to get a pretty good response. So let's see here. Doesn't look like Energized and Romulan Dog actually have a spectator slot, but I don't know if they've already played and they just finished, or let's see. Yeah, no, they haven't entered the score yet, so we're also waiting on Goliath and Oleg here. So yeah. So far, if we take a look at the scoreboard here, Voidlul's Vamps beat Geraldo's Chaos. Rame, I believe, got a default win over Glass Brick, because I don't know if Glass Brick showed up. Ben, the barman, looks like Norska beat G Reaper's Skaven. Sarmatian's Empire lost to Skull X Chaos. High Elves look like they beat Slate X Wa, and I actually really like the High Elves against the Greenskins, pretty much only because of Arcane Unforging, but yeah, they also have great heavy cavalry, so not too surprising there. Looks like we watched this one, Kark's Empire lose to Ziphos Arguelon. Gabo King looks like his Greenskins also lost to Brachus Rex Chaos, a bit unfortunate there. Let's see, High Elves versus Beastmen. Dipster's Beastmen came out on top over Draren there, and Pacifist Warlords High Elves lost to Imperator's Lizardmen. So we're just waiting on a handful of matchups here to finish up, and we'll be moving on to the next round. So Yosef, that's probably one of the best battles I've ever played. I'm not gonna lie. That's like, I've even gone back and myself watched that video a few times because it was just so ridiculous. Oh, man. Yeah, DJ Kotep doing the double vortex action. Super fun. Oh, it looks like Energize and Romulan weren't, hadn't started yet, but they have started now, so they're going to be up and running here. And for those of you who are curious, Shetland Apache is also streaming on Twitch and Russian. Help, I believe, is also streaming on Twitch and Russian. If y'all want to check out the tournament Discord, that would be the place to find them. So. Yeah, Curse of Years is a good one. And like Malekith has his effect that procs a recharge time. Pretty much anything that would proc a recharge time is going to be useful at stopping the Wa initially. The thing about Arcane Unforging though is the massive single target damage, which the greenskins really don't have an effective way to counter. So, I mean, you kind of kill two birds with one stone there, or two snotlings rather. But yeah. Yeah, Curse of Years, I actually haven't tried that yet, but I mean, it on paper it does the same thing, so I'd imagine it would work just as well for at least preventing that initial on the charge Wa, which is really where Wa gets the most effectiveness. So yeah. Yeah, I like those effects against greenskins quite a bit. Looks like Oleg and Goliath are also in action, currently playing their battles, so we'll be moving along shortly. Yes, Teclis does have Greater Arcane Conduit. Yep, that is correct. Teclis, Marathi, all Slaawn, including Mazdamundi, of course. I'm trying to think of who else has it. I don't think anyone from the old world has it. And then, yeah, I think it's pretty much them. Skrulk might. I'd have to check. I guess we could always look real quick. We're just waiting anyway. Let's see here. I'll keep this challenge page open just so that when it moves to the next round, we're ready. Let's see here. Skaven. Skrulk doesn't even have Arcane Conduit. Do any of the Skaven casters have Arcane Conduit? The Grey Seers do. I'd imagine Creative Assembly will probably make Thanquol at some point, and Thanquol will probably have greater Arcane Conduit, but yeah, interesting. The Great Wa. Yeah, I would like Grimgore to get that, like a Great Wa, like it's lasts twice as long or something. That would be awesome. Grombrindle? I can try. I don't really play the dwarfs a whole lot, and when I do, I don't typically play Grombrindle, but I can see what I can do. If you were to donate or sponsor, I might be more inclined. No, I'm just kidding. Don't feel like you have to. I'll still try regardless, but that would be cool, Liam. Like a unique Wa for each legendary lord. I don't know how much work that would be, but I think that would be a lot of fun, certainly. So, oh, looks like H45 did end up showing up, so we should have just stayed in that one. But sorry about that, guys. I haven't casted a tournament in a while. I guess I'm a bit of a noob at it, but I feel for you, Tom. I went to school. I had a scholarship for a couple years. So I went to school for like 2 years, college that is, and kind of didn't really know what I wanted to do, so I was just doing generals, and like I got all my generals done, and then I was like, well, I kind of don't want to spend my own money now or go into debt, so I'm just gonna be done. And I haven't been back since, but I'm not in debt for it, thankfully, because I had a scholarship for the first couple of years. But yeah, school's not for me. I like learning, but I don't necessarily like doing the busy work of school. The social aspect is fun too, but I mean, I can just go hang out at a college, right, and talk to people. I don't necessarily need to be a student. So yeah, depending on the field you want to go in, I definitely see value in going to college, but like, I don't know. Nowadays, if you don't really know that you want to go into like a science or technology field, I would say you probably don't need to go to school. Maybe if you want to be like a professional historian or something, but even then, I mean, it's more or less just getting access to the right sources, right, at that point. So it's interesting. Yeah, a lot of my friends and stuff who are, and you know, extended family and so on, and even some of my employees at the the restaurant I work at, I tell them, you know, they're just coming out of high school, going to college, and I'm like, if you don't know what you want to do, don't go to school, because you're going to be going into debt and potentially wasting a lot of time and money. And honestly, my biggest advice right now would be to go to a trade school, because there's a distinct lack of like electricians, you know, plumbers, kind of the skilled technical laborers, that these things aren't necessarily hard to do, but you have to learn how to do them, but not enough people are. So the demand for it is going up while the supply is going down, so those people are getting paid more and more. So like, I have a good friend from high school, for example, who went to like 1 year of trade school to get some welding certifications, and he makes more than some of my other friends who went to college for 4 years. So, you know, take from that what you will. At least that's how it is in the US. I don't know about other parts of the world, but well, if it's free, I can't argue with that. But yeah, cybersec, yeah, like I said, technology, generally anything in that kind of field, probably want to go to school for. But technology, especially, you know, computer tech, is always developing so much too, that even once you get out of school, you're still going to have to be constantly educating yourself on, you know, what's new and upcoming, and especially in cybersec, I would imagine that you would really need to stay abreast on all the new developments. So yeah, that's a shame. Engineers make pretty good money in the US. And skilled tradesmen do too. I mean, even like cooking, for example. Like, I learned how to cook, and I've been able to almost make a career out of it, just because, you know, well, besides just general business skills, which you kind of just learn through experience, but if you have a valuable skill, that's oftentimes better than having a degree. Like, if you know how to code, most software companies won't look twice at your degree if you know how to code. All right, so these last few games are just getting underway here. We're still waiting, so we could always go poke around some other streams and see what's going on. Gabo King is streaming, for example. He's just playing a quick battle, it looks like, passing the time. Let's see what Shetland's doing.
Knockout.
Looks like Shetland just got done casting Romulan Dog and Energized, so that game's done now. See you, Colin. Good to have you. Yeah, I know a lot of countries have the specialized high school thing where you, like, through your high school track, you kind of pick what you want to do, and then you go to, like, a specialized high school rather than necessarily even going to college. But, yeah, I mean, it's definitely valuable to have skills. Alright. Sorry about the long wait, guys. Again, it's just, you know, kind of the nature of this tournament, but no worries. Happy to chill with you guys. So we're just waiting on H45 and Ceramis. Oh, it looks like they just finished, and the next round is up. So, who do we want to watch? Let's see here. Let me look at some matchups, and we will decide. Ooh, Goliath versus Dipster could be fun. Greenskins versus Beastman. So let's go ahead and refresh here. Da-da-da. Should be seeing the games pop up here shortly. Let's see here. Looks like people are still getting their lobbies together. So, for those of you who are curious, this is the next round. It's just been updated here, so we're going to be jumping into one of these games. We've got quite the faction representation today. Quite a few different matchups here. Let's see. Rame versus Brockus is going to be Chaos versus Tomb Kings. This should be an interesting one. So we'll go ahead and jump in this one here. Let's see here. I'm actually just going to back out and see what other matchups there are real quick, because since all of these are happening at the same time, we can be a little bit choosy here. And, you know, it will take some time for people to pick their armies. So, let's see. Dipster versus Goliath was one. Greenskins versus Beastman. I do think I want to watch this one. Mookit versus Romulan. That could be a really good one, too. Ooh, High Elves versus Skaven. Actually, let's do that. I'm like a kid in a candy store with these matchups right now. Gabo's fighting Oleg. Right on. Let's see. Been trying out Tomb Kings lately. Any tips? Deal with enemy artillery. Carrion is your friend, Mirdas. Carrion is your best friend. I would probably bring like 4 Carrion in most matchups. Okay. Let's see here. I'm actually probably going to jump back into another one. I know I'm just kind of jumping around here, but I want to try and get one that's going to be underway shortly. We'll go ahead and jump into this Dipster versus Goliath game. Let's go ahead and get this thing up. Whoops. And alright. So we've got Greenskins versus Beastmen. This is a super interesting matchup because the Beastmen are one of the best hit and run factions in the game. And the Beastmen are the best hit and run. Greenskins are probably the best head-on faction in the game, except for maybe Chaos or the Dark Elves. Those are two that can roll with them. But yeah, the Beastmen are very strong in a head-up rush. But oh man. Oh. All right. Yeah, it's very interesting. Very, very interesting. Bone Giants, in a counter artillery role, Bone Giants are not that great. They're really best at getting cavalry and like monstrous infantry. Single models they're pretty good against, but cavalry and monstrous infantry, you know, like Famir, things that size, that's going to be your best bet. To take out enemy artillery, it's really tough. You know, for me, with my tier list I just released, for example, a lot of the matchups that I said were unfavorable for the Tomb Kings were matchups that have a lot of AP missiles, because especially artillery, because the Tomb Kings are pretty slow. You really can't, it's similar to Lizardmen, you really can't get to them fast enough before you get torn to shreds. So, you know, it's tough. Like Dwarves, for example, is a pretty bad one for the Tomb Kings. Empire, they have a lot of fire damage and armor-piercing artillery. Even the Elf factions can be pretty rough, the High Elves and the Dark Elves, that is, because of the bolt throwers. So, yeah, I mean, it's definitely tough. But the Carrion are your main fast attack choice. If you want to go with the Followers of Nagash, you can also get Dire Wolves, but they're a bit more expensive. And like they're even a bit more expensive than what you would pay if you were playing vampire counts, so they might not be the most cost-effective thing, but you know, it is another fast attack option. Likewise, with the Followers of Nagash, you can get the Hex Wraiths, which can be good, but they're very risky because obviously, if your opponent has magic damage, then they're going to get killed really fast. So it's a lot of give and take, definitely, but. Another sneaky thing you can do is there's that unit of Sepulchral Stalkers, the Regiment of Renown, that actually has stock, and they can Vanguard, so you like Vanguard, deploy them in the corner, then sneak in and, you know, use them to take out your opponent's artillery. Just a thought there as well, but there are a few different things you can do to try and not get punished so hard by artillery, but. Alright, looks like these guys are just about ready to kick things off, so let's see how this goes. Gonna be switching things up now. Alright, so once again, for those of you just joining, we're taking a look at Beastmen versus Greenskins. This is round 2. And it is Goliath against, let's see, Dipster. Dipster's Beastman, Goliath is Greenskins. So we'll see how things go here. And hopefully, if this one's done pretty quick, we can jump into another one. But yeah, Bone Giants, especially if you have Khalida with them, buffing them up, they can do a lot of work against cavalry. Like I think that they're really good against Bretonnia, for example. They're probably, I mean, that was already a matchup that wasn't great for Bretonnia, but the Bone Giants just make that really tough. They're probably pretty good against Chaos too, although I haven't tried it a lot in that matchup. Anything where you're not necessarily going to be facing a lot of armor-piercing counter-artillery. But anyway, let's jump to the army compositions here for the Beastmen. We've actually got a Beast Lord on foot. Very interesting. He's got the Horn of the First Beast and Apocalyptic Vision, Bloodlust. So lots of support buffs. He's also got a Brave Shaman, Lore of Shadows up on the Supig Chariot here. Milkos, Mystifying Miasma, Enfeebling Foe, and Occam's Mind Razor. Very interesting. I like that Occam's Mind Razor quite a bit to help counter physical resist units like Savage Orcs, Savage Orc Biggins, Jagged Dagger for the extra magic. He's also got some Bestigor Herd, some Gore Herd, looks like no shields on them, some Chaos Poison Warhounds. We've got 2 Ungor Raiders, 2 Centaurs with throwing axes, and the Butchers of Kalkengard, who are an excellent pick in this matchup. Not only because they have 60 melee defense, which is just crazy for monstrous infantry, they also have regeneration, heavy armor piercing damage, a good missile block chance, and cause fear and terror. So excellent pick in this particular matchup. For the Greenskin Wa here, no surprise, Wurzag by far and away the most competitive choice right now with the Bonewood Staff. He's got Here We Go and Foot of Gork, so more expensive spells, probably not going to get that much value from the Bonewood Staff. But he's also got effigy to get, of course. Let's see here. Black Orcs in the front line, 2 of them flanked by 2 Savage Orcs. We've got Night Goblins with some more Biggins in the back, Savage Orc style. Nasty Skulkers, 1 Orc Airboy, and the Rusty Errors. We've got some Force Goblin Spider Riders with 1 unit of Orc Boar Biggins. So, pretty decent army. We'll see how it goes. Very well balanced army. It looks like Gabo Big Boss. What's he riding? A spider? Yep. Good stuff. So, this is one that honestly could go either way. Both players have brought very balanced armies, and it all depends on how the engagements play out. I do think that the Butchers of Kalkengard are going to be potentially pretty tough for the Greenies to deal with here, but if he can get like a good effigy to get and just unload with a bunch of missiles, that could potentially do some work. The Savage Orc Biggins will also do quite well against the Butchers of Kalkengard if they have the Wa effect up, or Here We Go, or something to buff up their melee attack. But again, those Butchers of Kalkengard with their 60 melee defense, whew, that's tough to deal with. They're very strong units, so. Yep, looks like these Ungor Raiders going to be unloading into the Savage Orcs. Some really nice value. These Savage Orcs are ranked up a bit too, so definitely some really good value there. Meanwhile, ooh, unfortunate getting those Chaos Poison Warhounds caught out there. Not a lot of resources, but definitely some good flexibility. So, meanwhile, those Savage Orcs are getting punished here, charged straight up by the Gore Herd, but oh, this is bad. This is very bad. These Bestigor are just going to get charged by Black Orcs who are under the Wa effect. That being said, it looks like we've got some Shadow Magic going down. Melkos, Mystifying Miasma. Those Butchers of Kalkengard, not really sure what happened to them, but they just got absolutely slaughtered. Wow, holy cow, what just happened? Did they get smoke bombed maybe and just shot down completely by the missiles here? But huge Foot of Gork going off now. This is definitely turning in favor of the Greenskins, and ooh, looks like it wasn't overcast. Didn't actually do that much damage to the best Gore, but it pretty much destroyed those Gore herds. So yeah, Greenskin frontline rush doing very well at this point. Another smoke bomb going down. Yeah, must have not been the smoke bomb. Dang, I wish I would have caught what killed those Butchers so fast. That was not what I was expecting at all. Maybe just a combination of Here We Go and those Savage Orc Biggins. I mean, that does kind of make sense, but Beast Lord's getting punished by the Gabo Big Boss at this point. Yeah, that's going to be a very swift victory, I think, for the Greenskins, and holy cow. Yeah, remember what I was saying about not wanting to take the Greenskins in the front line for the Beastmen? Well, unfortunately, Dipster took the frontline engagement with the Beastmen and just got smacked. Ooh, just absolutely stomped on. So yeah, it's pretty much all but over at this point. There's some Centaurs with throwing axes kiting away here. More Centaurs being caught up with Spider Riders, which is very inefficient, and yeah, at this point it's just a matter of time before army losses get close enough. Hounds trying to pull away here, some pretty effective play over on this side, getting in on those Orc Arrow Boys, but just a little bit too late to save those Butchers. Granted, what the Butchers do have left is going to regenerate and come back, but they only have 4 unit models, so they're not able to regenerate a whole lot. They're going to get in here and mix it up with these Night Gobos here. So, yeah, Greenskins definitely showing their strength, and I do think that the Greenskins have maybe got the edge in this matchup now. Perhaps, but looks like the Gobbo Big Boss is in here as well. He'll actually do quite well against these Butchers of Kalkengard. He's able to get, like, rear attacks on them and stuff, but yeah, with the Butchers gone, there's really not much hope left for the Beastmen. You can see the Chariots trying to run away here, but he's not going to be able to escape from those Orc Boar Biggins, especially once they hit their charge speed. We do have some Centaurs with throwing axes online as well, but just probably not enough of them left to do enough damage to these Black Orcs. He's got some regrouping Ungor Raiders as well, definitely wants them firing at these Savage Orc Biggins. Meanwhile, over on this side, the Spider Riders are losing to the Centaurs with throwing axes, but it's not necessarily an efficient trade for them. Just because the Spider Riders are significantly cheaper, and it's also zoning these guys out from the main battle where they would have needed to be. But looks like Effigy to get going down, pinning these Centaurs in place, and then the Savage Orc's going to run in with some point-blank fire from the Gobos, so we'll soak up some cinematics as the boys get in here and cut things up. Looks like maybe a Fist of Gork or something going off, or some spell somewhere was cast, because, yeah, Fist of Gork, actually didn't catch that. Looks like he did indeed have Fist of Gork, so yeah, maybe that's what happened, is those Savage Orc Biggins in the front line just got that Fist of Gork and just beat the living daylights out of the Butchers of Kalkengard. That was not at all what I was expecting, but yeah. Speed bump Ungors, yeah. I honestly would have gone with like a Cygor, like the Eye of Morslib, and just all Centaurs, pretty much. Like, just don't even take a frontline engagement. There's no reason to take a frontline engagement against the Greenskins as the Beastmen now. They will beat your face in every single time. So, for me, the way I kind of have the paradigm of this matchup is I would definitely take, I do agree with the pick of the Butchers, although I would have kept them as like my final line reserve rather than more of a frontline unit. And I keep them basically next to the Eye of Morslib and just force my opponent out of position. You know, use the Centaurs to run shop and such. But yeah, victory for the Greenskins. Very fun stuff. Hope you guys enjoyed watching. Well played to both players, but Goliath's wall rush there, just punching the Beastmen in the teeth. So very fun stuff. And let's go ahead and jump to the next one. See if there are any that have not started yet, hopefully. Yeah, looks like they're mostly all underway already, so hopefully we'll be able to get to the next round a little bit faster here, but whew. Yeah, always go full Daka Kalita. True that. 2 Bone Giants, 2 Shabti with Kalita standing in the middle. It's pretty effective. The Boy Eye, yeah, or the Boy Eye from Rome 2, or even the Fast Charge from the Swaby. Oh man, that was nasty. And that's pretty much what Wa is. It's really not that far off from what Fast Charge was, so well, should we go bother Gabo and Jonton? Looks like Gabo, has he played his match yet? I guess we could go ask him.
Maybe it's not actually him.
Hey, gents, how's it going?
And anyways, I'm going to go fight a battle.
Gabo hates me, doesn't he?
No, his opponent just came on to a tourney battle.
I saw he hadn't played yet, so. How are you today, Jonton?
Pretty cool. Man, Dad, I was looking at your list, your faction list. I gotta say, our perspectives on all that stuff vary greatly.
Right, and that's why I made the video about why I hate tier lists, because it's kind of pointless. So, yeah.
People like to talk about
that's
it.
True.
That's
and
that's really the only point there is.
Exactly, and that's the main reason why I did it, is because I wanted to talk about it, right? And everyone was bothering me to do one, so yeah, it was still fun though. And
me and Sakarma are gonna do one, but we're gonna do a week with every faction first, so that we did try to do it, but we felt we didn't. There were some factions we just didn't know well enough to say whether they had good or bad matchups. So
yeah, we're
gonna do that first for us.
Yeah, I mean, my tier list is I even put in the tier list itself, like the document is a caveat that this is probably going to change in 2 days. Like
it changes all the time.
Even within a single patch. Like people discover new aspects to the meta and different things, and it's like, oh man.
I'm doing some Empire testing right now.
Nice.
What are you? I saw you in the tournament. Are you still playing?
No, I'm just streaming, just casting. We're in between rounds right now, so I'm just hanging out.
Oh, cool. I am going to do some unit testing. All right. Before the last patch, Flagellants could not beat Heil Spearmen. Let's see if they can. A unit that you'd expect them to kill, so they definitely should be able to now. They've been buffed a little bit in the last couple of patches. I want to test them out.
Yeah, they definitely seem better. I've been using them a little bit here and there. I still think they're slightly too expensive. Like, I don't know why they ever increased their price from Game 1 to Game 2, but...
That's why I'm saying. It didn't make any sense to me.
But
I posted a thing on the forum. Some people think they're too strong, but...
Really?
Some factions, yeah, which, like I said, the perspective thing. So I'm going to go in and do some testing and,
Yeah.
See what's what.
Great Book of Grudges. Remind me your comment on that video. I probably read it, but there were like 100 comments plus on that video, so I don't know if I remember your comment per se. Yeah, it was fun though.
All right, they should be able to beat Eternal Guard. That's like the kind of unit they're made to kill. So let's see how they do.
Yeah, you would think.
Eternal Guard shields. They're also 50 cost more. Let's see if they perform.
Yeah, they're pretty decent in some matchups now. Like, I like them a bit against the Dark Elves. They're pretty good. They trade reasonably cost effectively in my experience against things like Witch Elves and
yeah, I have
Sisters.
seen them do decent against Witch Elves.
And like they'll cut through Bleak Swords and Red Spears pretty easy too. So.
No, man, fighting the AI, trying to test the AI is almost pointless.
Yeah, Gary, I would have taken part in the tournament, but I am not typically up this time of day. Like, this is pretty early for me to be up, and it's mostly just because, like I said, on vacation, my sleep schedule got all messed up, so yeah. Yep, I probably will join one within the next few weeks, though. I've been meaning to do some more. It's definitely fun. It's a good way to remind yourself how terrible you are, though.
Yes, indeed. I need to play more tournaments.
I'm surprised you don't play more, John Ton.
I just don't have much time for all that jazz. It's late.
Yeah. When you work weekends, it makes it tough.
Not this weekend, though. I just didn't know about this tournament, and also didn't want to play.
Yeah, I didn't know about this tournament because I've been on vacation all week, but...
I've been wondering where you've been.
Yeah, I was on family vacation. We went to Lake Powell, which is a ton of fun.
Come on. It's going to be easy win if they... Why does AI block up? Ah, shit.
Let's see.
I'd ask you to help me with some testing if you weren't streaming right now.
Well, we're kind of waiting in between rounds, so...
I mean, alright. Tell you what. Let's make it really easy and fast. I'm going to send you the link to... Do you know those two mods with the unit testing map pack and the... Actually, I guess we really don't need that if we're actually using real players. I'll just turn them off.
Cool.
I had the mods on where it get really small, flat map and lets you choose regular units for the lords. Makes it easier to test.
You know what, actually? I think there's a battle that I can join that... Oh, no, wait. I think they just finished. Never mind.
The son of a whore.
I'll do some testing.
You son of a whore, my brother. Alright. So, let's try High Elf Spearmen versus Fledglings. They used to lose. They should win now. And they should be able to win pretty handily, being that they're made to kill units like that.
You would think.
And that is not so for the Spearman.
The other thing, too, is the new buff for the Warrior Priests is awesome. It's so good.
Oh, yeah. Love it.
So good.
I absolutely love it. But it makes Franz pretty useless now. Because it's just better buffs than him. Well, yeah, better buffs than him. Franz needs a change. Alright, where is... What's your name right now? Dog Place.
Yes.
Okay. I will be Empire.
Okay.
Alright, I'd like to try Flagellants against...
Let's do...
Yeah, just
Spearmen?
Spearmen for the... Just Spearmen.
How many?
Just bring 3.
Alright, I'm gonna bring one of them. You want the regiment or just regular ones?
Bring regular ones, because... Well, actually, yeah, bring the regiment, too.
Can kind of compare.
Yeah. I'm sure the Regiment of Renown... We'll try the Regiment of Renown Fledgling against them.
Cool.
Just for
giggles.
Shiggles. Let's do it.
Alright, I've got 3 regulars and the regiment. So, we'll do it.
As do I.
Do it.
Do it. Use your anger, use your hate. Man. I'm pretty sure they'll be able to beat them now, after the buffs. They've gotten a couple buffs.
The thing about the Regiment of Renown is the extra unit models make such a big difference.
The Regiment of Renown is pretty good. Expensive. But
Yeah, I do think they're too expensive. They should be like $850, but...
it's just a thing that Empire kind of needs Flagellants for factions like Skaven and especially the Wood Elves. Well,
Yeah.
The Wood Elves just destroy everything with their infantry.
They're pretty decent against the Beastmen, too.
Against Empire. Now, I don't bring them against Beastmen anymore just because... I don't know, I guess it's... Oh no, our Regiment for now on the wrong side.
Oops, switch sides.
Here, you stay on that side.
Okay.
All my regular Flagellants just have attack orders on yours. You can go ahead and speed it up.
Cool.
Do you know, DB? Surely they will be able to defeat them now.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think Wood Elves... It's tough. Just because they're meant to fight in the forest, but like ranged units don't mechanically work very well in the forest. A speed buff would be interesting, although that could be really annoying to deal with for some factions. But yeah, I think the Flagellants are going to win this. Mostly just because they're unbreakable, but it's close. But they will win.
Look at that. They cost more, and they're made to kill a unit like this.
Yeah.
This is not a cost-effective trade at all.
Not really. Swordsmen do better against state troop against high elf spearmen. Still, I think.
You're right, they do.
Because they have better melee defense.
That's so weird. Let's try against Wood Elves. Let's see who's gonna win this Regiment of Renown fight, though. Man, not even the Regiment of Renown fight they're winning. Fuck.
Yeah, and that one they're like almost exactly the same cost, so it's a bit more cost effective. But it's still not great.
This is why I say to people when they say that Flagellants are just fine. They can't do their job.
Yeah.
Alright, let's try against a different faction, though. Go some Wood Elves.
You want Eternal Guards with shields?
Yeah, bring 3 Eternal Guards with shields. Bring 3 War Dancers. I also want to see the trade there. Of course, they should lose.
Yeah.
But...
maybe 3 Spear Dancers, too, just for giggles.
Also, yeah. Because that's a unit you'd consider bringing them against too. Because you know they should do pretty okay.
Yeah.
They should actually the 200 costs different considering that unit's an armor piercing anti-large focus. They should be able to trade about even. Wait, no, those girls are 950, aren't they? So they should win.
They should win. They have great melee defense, but
yeah, I'd say they should win, but they should be able to put decent You know, at least take 2/3 of their health off.
Yeah.
Based on the price.
Yeah.
And the fact that they should, they're made for killing them, and they are not made for killing fledglings. Yeah, I posted on the forums with my Empire review, and some people have told me that fledglings, I don't know, someone said they think fledglings should get a cost decrease. It's kind of weird. Empire is definitely one of the harder factions to play. I'm just putting 3 groups of 3, kind of more towards the center, but spread out.
Okay.
Warriors of Ariel. Ever ready. Ha!
Alright, let's get those attack orders out. Who can Flagellants beat? They should only be able to beat the Eternal Guard, but they should trade okay with the Asteroid Spear. Actually, they should trade pretty good with the Asteroid Spear. Let's just speed it up.
Oh man, I should have saved that last one so I could make a video about this. Although I guess if you're making a video about this, I probably don't need to.
Well, I've already made a video about this. I'm just confirming some things. Well, okay, so...
Wow, they trade really good against the War Dancers. Holy cow.
Okay.
That's awesome.
Maybe it's just a weird thing with
the high up.
You know what?
I think it's because the High Elf Spearmen have too much melee defense. Because look, the Sword Dancers are... I don't know.
They only have 8 more than the Eternal Guard. The Sword Dancers did... That's pretty much what you'd expect.
Yeah.
The Eternal Guard did pretty much what I'd say that's fair too. So against the Wood Elves, it seems that Flagellants work out.
Yeah, as long as you don't get shot. That's the main issue with Flagellants against the Wood Elves, is if they get shot, they'll fall over.
You will get shot a lot. But everything's trading how you'd expect. And look, we even won against some Asteroid Spear. Very interesting. Maybe only like a 25 toss decrease.
Well, looks like the next round's up, so I'm gonna back out, go find a lobby, and I will see you in a bit.
Alright, see you, man.
Alright, let's go to the battles. Next round's up, boys. Let's check it out. So, who do we want to watch? Who have we not watched yet? What factions have we not watched yet? Mookip versus Romulan is... that's not actually a game. Raim versus Void Lulz is Tomb Kings versus Vampires. That could be a fun one. Alright, so we'll go ahead and put the screen blocker back up. If Shetland's casting this one, I might cast another. Let's see. Yeah, AP is useless against Flagellants. Ooh, Slade versus Samation. I want to watch this. I don't even care what factions they're playing. Ooh, another greenskins. Okay, I can deal with more greenskins. What is Samation playing, out of curiosity? Ooh, Sarmation's playing the Empire. Interesting. I'm having second thoughts. We've seen both these factions already, so... let's see here. Maybe I will cast that. Maybe not. Xiphos versus Goliath is Argalon versus Greenskins. Kark we've already seen. Let's see. Ceremis versus Pacifist. That could be interesting. Dark Elves versus High Elves, huh? I'm always up for elves taking on elves. What do you guys think? Oh yeah, the screen blocker is supposed to be up right now. That's intentional. Beer cans. Skaven versus Chaos. Which one's that? Let's see. Romulan Dog versus Skullax. We could possibly join that one. Let's see if I can find it. Let's see here. Not seeing that one on here. Let's do... Oh, there it is. Okay. Alright, so yeah, we're going to do Skullax versus Romulan Dog, since that's what you guys want to see. Skaven versus Chaos. Can do. Interesting. This is a very interesting matchup. This is probably one of my favorite matchups to play as the Skaven, because it can go so many different ways. Granted, Big Bird is super hard to deal with, but you definitely can deal with him. It's not impossible, but... Excuse me. Oh, man. Yeah, we've got 2 more rounds after this one, so it's probably another hour or so of battles. So hopefully you guys have enjoyed watching this fine morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are. It's definitely been a lot of fun. Alright, looks like Romulan Dog will be a couple minutes, so y'all can kick back, relax, grab a drink of water, stretch, you know, do all the human things. Alright, let's see. I'll be right back, guys. I'm also going to go grab something real quick. Hang tight. Alright, folks. Just about ready. Once again, for those of you just joining, we're with Romulan Dog and Skullax, Skaven versus the forces of Chaos, the Warriors of Chaos even. So, definitely in for a fun time. And looks like these guys are ready to go and loading in, so we'll switch back to the main screen here. All right, let's see how this goes. MP Peak Pass is going to be the map here. One of the larger maps. It's got these two big hills with the forests on both sides. A couple patches of forest spread throughout the middle and through both back lines as well. So lots of opportunity to take advantage of terrain here. And let's have a look at the builds. So for the cute cuddly Skaven, we've got Lord Skrolk here. He's got Vermintide, Pestilent Birth, and Liber Bubonicus. Let's see, he's also got 2 units of Plague Monk Censor Bears. He's got some Clan Rats, lots of Skaven Slave Spears. Looks like 3, 4, 5. Holy cow. Warp Lightning Cannon. He's got some Gutter Runners and Night Runners, I would imagine. Yep, 2 Gutter Runners and 3 Night Runners. He's also got 2 Rat Ogres and a Doom Wheel. If we have a look at the Chaos Forces here, no surprise, Big Bird, Sarthrel, the Everwatcher, definitely the most competitive pick here. He's got a front line of Marauders mixed with Forsaken, 2 units of Dragon Ogres, no Regiment of Renown though, very interesting. Personally, I really like the Summoners of Rage in pretty much every matchup. In this matchup, I mean, obviously they're anti-large armor-piercing Dragon Ogres, and they also have the Chain Lightning, which is really good against Skaven Infantry, but the regular Dragon Ogres will definitely be useful as well. A couple of Marauder Horsemasters and a Gore Beast Chariot. Actually, haven't seen one of these guys in a while, but Chariots are definitely effective against the Skaven, so... Ooh, look at these nasty things all ready for battle. Like, what even is the Gore Beast? Interesting. Anyway... Very interesting builds on both sides. Plague Monk Censor Bears are one unit that you really don't see often. They're kind of a glass cannon, but I guess this is one matchup where they do make sense because you're not going to face a whole lot of ranged units. Granted, I would still worry about them taking a lot of shock damage from a charge from something like Chaos Knights or a Chariot, but we'll see how they do here. They do have very heavy weapon strength, not the best stats, but 44 damage is quite a bit with 31 AP. They also have magic damage and Contaminate, so... they can be effective. We'll see how they do here. And no big surprise with the Rat Ogres, and the Doom Wheel's also a pretty good choice, although it is somewhat vulnerable to things like Dragon Ogres, so we'll see how Romulan Dog's able to use it here. Master Splinter versus Death Metal, yeah, exactly. So, who do you like more, the haggard, sickly ratling, or the haggard... bizarre bird thing? A lot of fun. Big Bird looks very appropriate standing over these Demon Spew, although the Demon Spew are kind of a Nurgle unit, I guess, so maybe not. But, you know, demons, Tzeentch, it's all chaos, right? It's all just chaos. Magic is chaos, guys. Alright, looks like the battle's getting underway. Big Bird going to be the first one moving forward. No big surprise there. With his missile resistance and magic resistance, this Warp Lightning Cannon is going to do basically no damage to him, because it obviously has magic ammunition here. And Big Bird, if we go ahead and have a look at his resistances, does have 25% magic and 60% missile resistance, so he's going to be more or less immune to the fire of the Warp Lightning Cannon, and it does look like, unfortunately, it is set to fire at will, which means it'll probably knock him over. It looks like it didn't actually knock him over, but, ooh, that is a, ooh. Okay, looks like he actually backed out of it with a Plague of Rust there. Very good play there by Skullax backing out, because that was a very bad Final Transmutation. Would have been a huge waste of magic, but he was able to back out of that with a nice Plague of Rust instead. So, you know, obviously not the best to cast Plague of Rust on the Gutter Runners there, but it's better than wasting a whole bunch of Winds of Magic on a useless Final Transmutation. Looks like all across the line, Chaos going to be pushing up, obviously. Ooh, Big Bird does get knocked over there, but see how little damage that Warp Lightning Cannon does? And that's why you bring Big Bird here. These Marauder Horsemasters, though, are definitely not liking this engagement too much. These Chaos Marauders going to get tangled up by Skaven Slave Spears and probably shot up a whole bunch. Rat Ogres, you can see Krathing very aggressively after that Doom Wheel, and the Warp Lightning Cannons definitely want to focus fire on the Rat Ogres as much, or sorry, the Dragon Ogres as much as possible. Hey, there's Rat Ogres, there's Dragon Ogres, there's... The only thing we don't have is proper ogres, but final transmutation, just a regular, no overcast going down on Lord Skrolk there. Lord Skrolk is pretty vulnerable to that. It doesn't have any magic resistance or healing or anything like that, so if he's able to get a few good ones over the course of the battle, he can take out Lord Skrolk. But it looks like the Doom Wheel is getting caught up here by the Rat Ogres, Dragon Ogres. God dang it, guys. Anyway. It's getting caught up, took a ton of damage, and is able to pull away there, thankfully. But definitely bad situation. And here is what I was talking about. Shock damage and just... The Sensor Bears will get in here and clean up these Marauders, but having Big Bird and then a rear charge by these Dragon Ogres is going to be really, really bad. That being said, the Plague Monk Sensor Bears on this other side doing quite well, cutting out the Demon Spew and these Marauders without too much issue. Lord Skrolk is getting back. He's got a Scroll of Leeching down on him. Very nice play from Sarthriel there. If we take a kind of an overarching look, you can see the Doom Wheel's actually being chased off by the Marauder Horsemasters, so very good use of the Horsemasters there. The Skaven Slave Spears, as is expected, getting cleaned up, but those Sensor Bears actually able to stabilize there in the center and start to bring that back. Looks like another final transmutation going down. That actually will be pretty good against monstrous infantry like Rat Ogres, but Big Bird's starting to take some damage, and I didn't catch if Liber Bubonicus got cast on him. It still can do good damage to him, it's just not as efficient because of his magic resistance, but the Dragon Ogres now getting in, fighting the Rat Ogres, so this is the ultimate meta here, guys, is Ogres fighting Ogres, Rats fighting Dragons, and yeah, they're going to be pushing through. Those Sensor Bears are just getting inundated at this point. The Plague Monks being summoned up here are going to be pretty effective if they can get a good rear charge here on some of these like Chaos Marauders and stuff, but the Plague Monk Sensor Bears overchasing a little bit, and Big Bird, he can do some damage to him, but he probably doesn't want to sit on top of him for too long. Skaven are doing very well stabilizing despite how poorly things have gone up to this point. The Gorby's Chariot's in here, although that Doom Wheel is pretty much offline. The Marauder Horsemasters have been able to do a lot of damage to it as well. And now the Warp Lightning Cannon's also getting shut down, which means there's not a lot of threats left to the Dragon Ogres and to this Gorby's Chariot. So I think with that move there by those Marauder Horsemasters, that is going to be victory for Chaos. I mean, obviously it's still very close, especially if they lose Big Bird here to these Rat Ogres. It's going to be very, very bad, so he needs to get some kind of support in here. Looks like the Demon Spew are trying, and the Rat Ogres do get terrified, so Dragon Ogres and more coming into support. At this point, Lord Skrolk's running desperately. Honestly, Lord Skrolk can actually duel Sarthriel okay, if he doesn't get knocked around too much. If he gets like a Clan Rat summon or something to help support him here, but I don't think he even has the Clan Rat summons, so he does. So if he can get some Clan Rats to help support here, he can actually do okay against Big Bird, and Big Bird's probably going to want to pull back here. These Skaven Slave Spears just getting mashed by Dragon Ogres, no big surprise there. Gutter Runners out of ammo at this point, and those summoned Plague Monks are starting to degenerate. A lot of the Forces of Chaos regrouping here at this point, and this big pitched engagement in the back is going to be very bad. There's Night Runners that still have some ammo caught up here, and the cannon has been completely shut down at this point. We do have more Plague Monks being summoned, though, by Romulan Dog, trying to stabilize here, and things were looking pretty good initially for the Skaven. They were starting to bring things back a little bit, but losing that Warp Lightning Cannon was really devastating, and the fact that Big Bird's still alive with only 600 HP left, of course, he's unbreakable, so there's no chance of him routing at this point, whereas Lord Skrolk, all the damage he's taken is going to start to add up in terms of his leadership. But where is old Skrolk, man? He's still alive, about 50% HP, maybe a little less, but yeah, the Rat Ogres getting taken out, these Gutter Runners are getting taken out. It's pretty much mostly the summoned Plague Monks that are holding the morale together. And here comes a nice rear charge from the Gore-Beast Chariot. We'll watch as these guys kind of run through and get caught up on their own Marauder Horsemasters a bit. But looks like more summons coming up. We've got the Night Runners trying to come in here, but their leadership's just so shaky at this point. The only thing really keeping them alive is Skrolk here, summoning up more stuff. But it depends. It may seem really far out of reach for the Skaven, but if Skrull can stay alive and continue to just throw summons, just throw bodies at Chaos, he can eventually wear them down through sheer attrition. I mean, the Chaos forces are looking pretty thin. The biggest issue is these Gore Beast Chariots and this one unit of Dragon Ogres that's relatively healthy. I really don't think Romulan Dog has what it takes to take them down. I do think that Skull-X has probably taken this one, and yeah, Skrull now is caught, and that's bad news bears for the old Skrull man, so... at this point, it's probably just a matter of time before Army losses trigger, and the Gore Beast Chariots running shop over the summoned Plague Monks and more, and yeah, we got a full erect group of Forsaken, more Marauders, and just hordes of Chaos flowing through, so yeah, victory for the Warriors of Chaos, and it can be a tough time for the Skaven. Big Bird's just so hard to deal with. He was almost able to take him down there, but that Warp Lightning Cannon, had it been able to stay on a little bit longer, might have done some good damage, but the Gore Beast Chariot and those Dragon Ogres racked up a ton of kills. Holy cow. 104 on Big Bird himself, 119 on the Forsaken, 118 on Chaos Marauders. I mean, granted, a lot of those are Skaven Slave Spears, but still, very well played to both players. Hope you guys enjoyed watching that one. But, yeah, fun stuff. Let's see if there's any more from this round that have yet to start, and we can jump in there. Let's see. I guess if Slade versus Samation have not started yet, we can go in here. But woo, what a battle! That was pretty back and forth. Very good battle, both players. Very fun stuff. I think these guys have already played, but let's see. I'm just asking them. Oh, yeah. Alright, so those guys are pretty much done. Let's go back to the challenge page and see how things are shaping up. So we've still got a few matchups that are finished but unregistered, it looks like. But we've got, let's see, some, so interesting. If we go to standings here, we can kind of see where some people are at. So far, Imperator is... currently with 2 wins. Let's see. So far, none of these guys at 3 wins. The only ones looking closer, Ziphos and Raim, look to be potentially getting to 3 wins here. I'm not really sure about the tie there from Imperator, but yeah, not too sure about that. But let's go back here and see if we can't scoop up another battle or something in the meantime. If not, we'll just go hang out with John Ton some more. But all right. I think Rain versus Void Lul's already played, or did they? It doesn't say so yet, so maybe we'll go there, or one of them just dropped, so maybe they just finished. Probably Great Book of Grudges. I don't know. Yeah, it's hard to predict. Skaven, if I know anything about Skaven, it's that they're unpredictable. I imagine Warp Lightning is similar, so Chicken Little beats Stuart Little. Oh man. that was quite the battle, but I don't think there's any others that we are able to jump in at the moment. I think everyone else is just about finished. We're just waiting on Goliath versus Xiphos, which is currently just got done. So the next round should be up shortly. Ceremis versus Pacifist also haven't entered their scores yet, so I don't know if they're done or if they just haven't entered their scores. Guess we could always go check. I guess that answers that question. Yep, looks like the next round's up, so cool. We'll jump into it here. And what matchups do we have now? Imperator versus Ben the Barman. That could be interesting. Let's see what else we've got here. Got some Skaven versus Empire. We've got a High Elf Mirror. Tomb Kings versus OP Greenskins. That's what Gabo King's doing. Good luck, Gabo, against Raim. That'll be an interesting one. We have High Elves versus Tomb Kings. What do you guys want to see? Let me know if there's a faction specifically you want to see that we haven't seen yet. Could do Dawi Dark Elves. Da-da-da. Okay. Just waiting for more of these. Here we go. We're starting to get some lobbies popping up here, so we can start to hop in. Could do some Norska. Imperator versus... Vampires, Greenskins. Yeah, there's not too many people bringing the Lizardmen. If I can see the Norska game on here, I don't know if I can actually see it. I think we'll go with Dawi Dark Elves because I can't actually see the Norska game. So, or maybe... could do Vampires versus Greenskins. That could be interesting. Yeah, I guess we better just join one, huh? Yeah, we'll do. We haven't seen vampires yet today, so we'll join this one here. Vampires versus greenskins. Or you know what? Let's do Dawi versus Dark Elves. How about? At least I thought I saw that one on here. Maybe not. Yeah, we'll just do that one. We are indeed. Okay, sorry about the jumping around, guys, but we're here now. We're in the lobby, so. All right. All right, and now we're here with the man himself, the Professor of Pwn, PhD.
Do you know the way, dog?
I do not. Just waiting in between games on stream, so I figured I would jump in here and chat for a bit.
How goes the tourney?
Pretty well. I'm not actually playing it. I just decided to cast it at the last minute, but it's going well. We're having a lot of good battles already, so.
That's
good. Chaos is looking strong, which I think everyone knew that already, but.
Coming to you live.
National Live Internet. So, what can the people expect upcoming from the great Professor of Pwn?
Well, I thought about doing a stream today, but I have family coming over now, so
Yeah.
probably not gonna do that. And then I got called into work tonight. So.
Aw. Oh well.
So, minor setback. Hopefully, I'll be doing our Blood Bowl as soon as that starts up.
Yeah.
Now that you're back.
Now that I'm back, I've made my Dawi team. I'm joined, so we're all ready.
I think we might just be waiting on Sotek then, unless he finally.
I think Black Iron said when I got back Friday that I was the only one who hadn't joined yet. So.
Hopefully you didn't forget about Sotek. I'm actually gonna start that up and take the old look-see.
I named all my dwarfs after Snow White's 7 dwarfs. Because why not?
Do you have like the not actual ones, like I don't know, is Sleazy a dwarf?
Yes, I did make a Sleazy. He's one of my frontliners.
Good. Good.
I have Sleazy, I have Ornery, I have Angry. Ornery and Angry are my 2 slayers. But cool.
What about you should have made one
Hangry.
Like, yeah, he's hungry. Mad.
That'll be my
You know,
when I buy a death roller. That'll be my death roller.
Women are always hangry because they're always hungry. And
Oh man. Well, this game's about to get started, so I'm gonna back out, but I'll be back in a bit.
all right.
Alright, let's get the screen blocker switched over. These guys are still loading in, but we're here again. Is this the wrong map? Is this the same map as the last round? I think this might actually be a mistake, but oh no, MP Peak Pass. I actually think that the people who played in the last round played at the wrong map, but that's okay. That's fine. We'll watch another map. This is actually another one on the same map. This is actually one of my favorite maps here, so yes, indeed. Oh, and I apologize if any of you have donated through Streamlabs. I don't actually have my Streamlabs connected to OBS yet, so I'll have to get that done. But let's see here, just in case. I don't think anyone's actually donated through Streamlabs, but you never know. Alright, so looks like they're loaded in. Let's get looking at the armies here. For the vampires, my favorite vampire lord by far, Heinrich Kemmler. Great to see him in a tournament. We've got Lord of Undeath, of course. Looks like just Invocation and Raise Dead, so a very cheap kit. He's also got the Chaos Tomb Blade, of course. We've got a corpse cart, or actually a Necromancer on a corpse cart with the Unholy Lodestone here. Let's see, he's also got a Forbidden Rod and no spells. We've also got a Mortis Engine, Crypt Horrors, very interesting, a couple of Fell Bats. Rest of the army is going to be a front line of Graveguard with great weapons mixed with some Skeleton Spears. We've got also the Sternsmen, 1 unit of Blood Knights, and 3 zombies. For the green skins, we've got 3 units of Black Orcs, 1 unit of Night Goblins, Savage Orc Biggins out to the flanks, Skulkers to the rear, 2 Savage Orc Arrowboys with the Rusty Arrows, and no surprise, Wurzag with the Bonewood Staff, Fist of Gork, here we go, Foot of Gork, typical loadout, nothing too surprising there. We've also got some Gabo Shaman, interesting. Gabo Great Shaman with the Wand of Jet and Itchy Nuisance. We've also got Gabo Big Boss as well. I really like that choice of the Wand of Jet, just to use this guy as kind of like a little battery here. Because this Wand of Jet does give power reserve and recharge rate, but it does not grants you extra ability recharge. But it does have endless uses and only a 60-second cooldown, so I actually quite like that little battery guy there. So looks like these guys are just about finished. All right. Interesting deployment from the vampire player here. Not sure exactly what his intention is, but looking to form up as some kind of Death Star, no doubt. Interesting to see how Krell does here. Krell can definitely put a beat down on Wurzag, or pretty much anyone the greenskins can bring to the table, so I'm very interested to see if you can get Wurzag summoned in the right, or sorry, if you can get Krell summoned in the right place to hit Wurzag a couple times. Can definitely change the tide of the battle for sure. But would have liked to have seen Curse of Years, just to not let Wa pop off right at the start. If you can cast that Curse of Years on Wurzag before he pops Wa, then you'll negate that effect on the charge, which in and of itself can be very strong. So we'll see. We will see. Alright, and battle's underway, so both these armies can't really see each other, so no one's going to be wanting to advance in particular, but vampires, I'd imagine, are going to be pushing up over the hill, whereas the greenskins look to be just kind of advancing straight up the pipe here. So actually looks like they're sending out some fell bats to do some scouting, which is always a smart play. You want to make sure you get visibility on your opponent before, but yeah. We'll see how this is getting underway. Okay. And yeah, so far bats obviously have been spotted the greenskin army, so we'll see what the vampire's intention is here. Not really too sure, but probably at the very least wants to get up on the high ground here so that he can take a downhill engagement, but doing some scouting, discovering all the hidden gobos and the nasty skulkers, Savage Orc Arrowboys, and all that jazz, so yeah, now it looks like the vampire player is actually starting to advance a bit, so we'll watch this get underway here. And if I were the greenskin player, I'd also try and push up to that hill as quickly as possible, because whoever takes that high ground is going to have a significant downhill advantage. So hopefully he does do so. Looks like he's starting to push forward here. Might actually occupy this space and kind of try and draw the vampire off the hill. Obviously, since the greenskin player has ranged units and the vampire does not. We'll see how it goes. But Wand of Jet already going off, trying to get some extra power, reserves, and recharge rates. So pretty decent. Ooh, alright. Both these players being very cautious about their advance, not really wanting to give an advantage here, but honestly, both of them probably should just rush the hill at this point. But yeah, if the green skin player had some skirmish cav, I think it would be pretty decent. I actually quite like Spider Rider archers and Wolf Rider archers. Both, excuse me, can be very cost effective in this matchup. So yeah, we'll see. Looks like Heinrich is leading the way here. Soak up some cinematics of good old Heinrich. Too bad Heinrich can't fly like he can in tabletop with his cloak and mist of shadows. That would be a little bit ridiculous, but would definitely be fun, no doubt. So yeah, the greenskin player at this point could probably just rush in and collapse, although he may be wanting to sit back and try and take a little bit of a missile engagement first. But depending on what comes forward, I mean, he could maybe even go and single out Heinrich Himmler, at least if he had more mobility. But greenskin player's gone with very much more of an infantry focus, not a whole lot of mobility, actually no mobility whatsoever, which is interesting and potentially dangerous. If he gets surrounded. You can see the Blood Knights still hidden in the woods there, just now going to be emerging. I honestly probably would have just kept him there until the main engagement gets underway, but ooh, Kemmler, careful buddy, if you come too far forward you're going to get shot to pieces by Savage Orcs. Looks like he's summoning up some zombies here just to see if these units are on fire at will. Looks like the Rusty Arrows are indeed on fire at will, and so a very nice use of zombies as arrow catchers there, catching arrows with their faces. And then the Regiment of Renown Unbreakable Gabo is going to be running in here and cutting up the zombies as they degenerate. Looks like the fire at will was turned off on the Rusty Arrows, thankfully. But here comes Kemmler, kind of diving in and out. We'll see. Black Orcs will definitely cut through Graveguard with weapons without too much issue, although the Vigor Mortis and the regeneration can definitely swing that. Blood Knights, if they can get a clean charge on these Savage Orc Biggins, can probably break them in 1 or 2 charges, but looks like Kemmler's coming in. We actually have Crimson Killas, who I have not seen in a battle in quite a long time. They might be okay here, but Wah popping off probably a little bit late there. Would have liked to have seen that before all these Black Orcs charged in. But better late than never, I suppose. It is certainly going to give a map-wide melee attack buff. Now another melee attack buff coming down. Looks like Irigo going to be stacking on top of that. So those Crimson Kill is up to 126 melee attack, which is totally overkill, by the way, guys. You don't really need to do this. I would have probably waited till Wah dropped to use Here We Go, but nonetheless, the Mortis Engine's taking some damage here. It's not in melee, so it's not applying its drain effect, unfortunately. That is one of the nerfs that they did to the Mortis Engine. But Blood Knights turning the corner here, going to be getting into the rear, while the Nasty Skulkers and the Savage Orc Airboys are clogged up. If they can get a solid rear charge, they can break these Savage Orc Airboys. Meanwhile, Krell's mixing it up with the Crypt Horrors and the Black Orcs. I would have liked to have seen Krell stick with Kemmler, because with the Corpse Cart, with Kemmler's Chaos Tomb Blade, and the other regeneration effects in this pocket, he can counteract the degeneration that Krell has, whereas because Krell is currently far away from the battle, he's not going to be able to counteract that as well. You can see those Savage Orc Biggins did get broken there on the charge, and the Graveguard now going to be following up, trying to get in and tie down these Nasty Skulkers here. Very nice use of the Blood Knights there. And Savage Orc Airboys are getting inundated. They won't mind too much. They don't have the best melee defense, so they will take damage, but they'll be able to dish some pretty solid damage back to things like skeletons and zombies. Although the Mortis Engine sitting on top of them is definitely going to be uncomfortable. You can see the Mortis Engine is taking some damage, but it's just not enough damage. It's not taking damage fast enough. So it is rapidly approaching its healing cap, though. Kemmler, though, pretty much unchallenged at this point. These Crimson Killers and more, who had initially got that very strong engagement, things are going to be turning against them just in terms of pure attrition at this point, and nothing is able to oppose these Blood Knights in the back line. They did get hit by a smoke bomb, but no magic left for the Foot of Gork Overcast, which would have probably been able to wipe out most of the unit. Granted, they are standing on top of some Savage Orc Airboys, so it's pretty rough stuff at this point. These Graveguard actually not trading super efficiently against the Nasty Skulkers, but Nasty Skulkers are going to rout just due to their terrible leadership. And yeah, at this point, not looking too great. Looks like another Here We Go going down, but I think because it was cast on these Night Goblins who are about to get wiped out. Oh, nope, they managed to stay alive until the end of the effect. And another wall popping off now, so another big timing push coming up. Heinrich has started to take some damage now, but the Corpse Cart Necromancer still relatively healthy. Looks like Wurzag's pathing very aggressively, going after the Mortis Engine, but Krell's in this pocket now. He's under the effects of the regeneration, so they're going to be counteracting at the very least him degenerating, but it doesn't look like Krell's actually fighting anyone at the moment, so probably wants to get an attack order there, and now he comes in to chop up some of these greenskins. Man, Krell's such a badass looking unit model. At this point, things are looking pretty good for the vampires. The leadership's starting to get shaky for the greenskins. They just haven't been able to win that war of attrition. That initial very strong engagement was pretty good, but just the a little bit over buffing there, I think, honestly, should have saved the magic for either a Foot of Gork to take out those Blood Knights, or an Here We Go after Wa had already worn off, so that you get that melee attack over a longer period of time. Because of the way diminishing returns works with melee attack and defense, you really don't need, especially against the vampire counts who tend to have terrible combat stats anyway, you really don't need to go that high in terms of your melee attack. I mean, most melee, even the elite quote-unquote units of the vampires, like these Graveguards, still only have 32 melee defense, so when you're 3 times that, I mean, you're hitting at the max base chance to hit anyway, so... Well played to both players, though. Hope you guys enjoyed watching. Krell definitely coming in strong there in the late game. Crimson Killers and the Black Orcs were able to get some good work done, but just the attrition there and those Blood Knights, man, very good play with a single unit of Blood Knights. Super strong heavy cavalry. Excuse me. But 189 kills, 102 on these Graveguard. They also did very well. 92 for the Mortis Engine. Excuse me, guys. I'm going to have to grab a drink here in just a minute. I apologize, but yeah, haven't seen strong Mortis Engine played like that in a while, but a great game. Love to see Heinrich Kemmler. And yeah, let's see if there are any other battles from this round that have yet to take place. Hang with me just one moment here. I'm going to go grab a drink. All right. I didn't actually, yeah, I didn't actually get into a lobby there, so, let's switch back to here, and let's have a look at this. Go ahead and update the page here. So we've just got a handful of games still being played. Overall, this tournament's flowed very smoothly for a Swiss style, but just a few more games being played. Let's go ahead and look at the score so far. Void Lulz pulling ahead with the Vampires with a 4-0 record so far, looking very, very strong. Imperator with Lizardmen up to 3, and still that 1 tie. I'm not really sure how exactly that works, but Rame is 3-1, Goliath is 3-1, so Tomb Kings, Greenskins, both looking very strong. High Elves, more Greenskins, Chaos. Man, there's a lot of representation in these top 10. We've got Empire, Arguelon, you know, lots of representation here. So that's always nice to see. I like to see, you know, different factions mixing it up in terms of the meta there. So looks like we have had some players drop, unfortunately, but you know, it is what it is. No, I haven't done any of the other ham radio podcasts, although hopefully I can get in on one soon. I definitely had a lot of fun, which it's funny you mention that. Since they confirmed Starfield is a thing, like Bethesda announced it at E3, I feel a lot less silly about that podcast, because it's kind of interesting, like, speculating about a game that you don't even know is coming out. I mean, we knew kind of it was coming out, but we didn't have it confirmed. But now that it's been confirmed by Bethesda officially, that whole speculation podcast suddenly, I think, becomes a lot more interesting and valuable, in my opinion, so... the Mortis engine and the Claw of Nagash. The Claw of Nagash has a slowing aura, I believe, and it also has magic resistance. And is that it? I'd have to look. I guess we could always just check right now while we're waiting on this, but so if we go in here and have a look at the vampire counts. So, yeah, the main difference, it does have magic resistance and a chilling aura, so like a slow aura, basically. So, obviously better stats, which doesn't really matter on a magic chariot, but yeah, it just picks up a few traits there. You can see at the bottom, magic resistance, and then this chilling aura. So, very strong. Very, very strong. Alright. Just about there. Just waiting on Skolex versus Xiphos and Go Korea versus Dipster. Looks like Skolex and Xiphos might have actually just finished. Same with Dipster. But we will wait. Looks like it should be very, very shortly. Hex rates. My biggest issue with hex rates is against any faction that has fire damage, or that has access to Lore of Fire, rather, you're probably going to see Flaming Sword of Ruin. So right there, you have a magic damage effect. A lot of factions just have straight up access to magic damage now because there's so much physical resistance in the game. So just in general, ethereal units of all types, I think, are significantly less useful than they used to be. But that being said, I definitely still can be useful in the right situation. Okay, looks like the next round is up, so we'll start waiting for some of these to populate here. And yeah, we can kind of watch what's going to happen here. In terms of the top matchups, let's see here. Void Lulz Vampires versus Imperators Lizardmen, number 1 versus number 2. So that could be an interesting one. Let's see. Goliath is Greenskins. He is taking on... We have seen a lot of Greenskins today, but let's see. He's taking on the Empire, so that could be an interesting one. Xiphos Arguelon, who we've seen, is fighting the High Elves. That could be another very interesting one as well. Pacifist Warlords, High Elves. So, what do we want to do, chat? What do we want to do? I kind of want to watch Void Lulz versus Imperator, but it's not popping up. Goliath versus Kark, or let's see, who's Rain fighting? Rain's fighting Skull-X. Tomb Kings versus Chaos. Haven't seen Tomb Kings yet today, so maybe we go for that. We also haven't seen Dwarfs or Dark Elves, but none of them are super high on the list, I don't think, so... yes. Okay, so it looks like we're going to be casting Void Lulz versus Imperator, considering that's more or less the final, considering whoever wins between those two will be in top spot, so... let's see, okay. All right. I have not had the chance to watch Air's video about the gyros, but see here. Well, if they don't add me, I can't really add them, so... Yeah, the way it works with Total War, and I don't know exactly what the regions are, but if you're not in the same region, you won't be able to see the other person's game, so you have to actually add them as a friend to be able to see their game. What do you think would make Skaven more competitive? That is a good question. That is a very good question. Alright, there we go. So, Void Lulz Vampires versus Imperator's Lizardmen. Very interesting. Not these guys are two people who are the only ones who chose their faction and yet have managed to get to 1 and 2. So all right. So this is more or less the final, because again, whoever wins this is going to have the better record. So we'll go ahead and swap back over here and see what gets underway here. Let's see. Anyway, back to what would make Skaven more competitive. Well, some long-range skirmishers, not necessarily artillery, but long-range skirmishers would definitely help, because right now all their skirmish is relatively short range, and that's the biggest issue with, say, like Poisonwind Globadiers, for example, is they have such short range that they're pretty easy to get on top of. But what else would make them more competitive? Some more like some of the end times units would be pretty interesting, like rat ogres that have guns attached to them, like warp lightning guns or warp fire throwers or different things like that. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see what their regiments of renown get, but more lord choices would be nice too. Just like a ranged buff lord would be awesome to be able to have with a Skaven artillery Death Star, where you have maybe like a missile attack or reload buff or something like that. Yeah, more Scryer and Molder units. Yeah, exactly. And that's what would be the best defense against heavy cav. Oh, what's up, Aristo? Didn't notice you pop in there. But, yeah, Warplock Jezzails. Poisonwind Mortar would be an interesting one. I guess that would probably just be another artillery piece, but maybe like a cheaper artillery option. That would be nice. There's a lot. Ikit Claw could be that guy, yeah. Ikit Claw is probably... It's got to be either Ikit Claw or Thanquol, and because a lot of the missing units are Clan Scryer, it's... my guess is probably Ikit Claw, if I had to throw it out there, but... we shall see. Thanquol is such a popular character that I'd imagine they would add him at some point, but again, because a lot of just lost my train of thought. Anyway. Alright, so once again, we're here with Void Lulz and Imperator, pretty much the final. Oh, is it a Skaven weapon team? Yeah, it'd be interesting. Maybe like a mid-range artillery piece then, or like maybe like a skirmisher unit, more like the Poisonwind Globadiers or like the Warpfire Thrower or something. But yeah, I mean the Skaven weapon teams are decent, but they just most of them have too short a range. So we'll see. Another one that might be helpful would be like Giant Rats, almost as like a hound unit, like a fast attack, because that's one thing that Skaven lack is they don't have anything in the 90 speed range. Like you just don't have anything that can go that fast. So even dwarfs have gyros, which are, you know, in that range of speed. Other factions have other things that are within that range. Even the Tomb Kings have like Carrion, for example, who are that fast. But you really don't have anything like that with the Skaven. So Giant Rats, if they were that fast, could be another really useful unit, sort of like a hound. What are those like other chariot things called? The cheaper, the flares or whatever they're called. That could be a good one. Yeah, you can at least pin heavy shock cav in, which definitely helps, certainly. So next DLC, September. Yeah, I think probably between September to like October, maybe. Doom Flayers, that's what I was thinking of. Thank you. Yeah, that would be a fun one. That would give him another mobility option, because I'd imagine those things would probably be reasonably fast. Just more mobility in general, and maybe that's just more so to my play style, because I tend to like mobility factions and a lot of skirmish cap and stuff, but it's interesting. Alright, so back to the main screen here, and we are indeed here in Le Angui, one of the best maps for multiplayer in my opinion. Got some interesting terrain, some flatter areas, woods, hills, different levels and stuff, but it's not too much terrain to where it's you know, bogs down the pace of the battle. But it should be interesting to see what both these players do here. Lizardmen historically have been very strong against the vampires, although with the Terrorgeist being as good as they are, and Blood Knights also getting a buff recently as well, it could go the other way quite easily. And we'll kind of admire this Empire hovel here. I guess Bretonnian hovel. We're in Bretonnia, right? Yeah, so this is a true peasant's hovel. We won't linger too long, but anyway. Yeah, Grombrindle. Yeah, I could see them holding him back for an event, either, you know, Make Love Not War, or like you said, like a White Dwarf thing, or just because Thanquil's such a popular character, maybe like a Krell, like a 30th anniversary, Regiments of Renown, you know, like for some kind of special event. I could see that, certainly. But yeah, let's jump to the army composition, since we're all loaded in now. For the vampires, we've got El Sif here on his zombie dragon. In terms of spell loadout, he's got Raise Dead and Invocation with all the rest of his abilities, but no other spells. Mortis Engine, backline of Skeleton Spearmen. Got 2 Fellbats, a Terrorgeist, 1 unit of Blood Knights, and some zombies. Very light on infantry. Actually looks like 2 Blood Knights, but still very light on infantry. Curious to see how this goes for him, especially considering that, ooh, interesting, lots of Temple Guard. 3 units of Temple Guard, 1 Saurus Warrior with shield. We've also got 4 Skink cohorts with javelins, 2 Chameleon Skinks, 2 Laser Lizards. I didn't catch who the Lord and Hero squad is. Looks like we've got old Crocky G on foot. I like that quite a bit, because he's not going to be a target for things like the Terrorgeist, and if the Red Duke comes down, he still has the anti-large AP to put a beating on him. In terms of other heroic units, we've also got a Skink Chief and a Skink Priest Lore of Heavens, so I quite like this Lizardman army, and I think that it's going to be tough. Voidlull's definitely got his work cut out for him, because taking down these Temple Guard is going to be pretty tough. I mean, he does have the Mortis Engine and breath attacks, but yeah, it's not going to be easy, certainly. So let's see what happens here. Shots popping off, making some contact with the Red Duke, does apply that blind effect, and keep in mind that's one of the most useful aspects of the Solar Engine, is that it does apply that blind effect. That minus 26 melee attack, 27 melee defense is basically like a bound enfeebling foe on anyone that gets hit by it, but the flaming damage, of course, if it makes contact, at least with the regenerating units, will do quite a bit of damage. I'd imagine that the Lizardman player wants to just kind of stay in the forest here, considering he really doesn't have a very heavy mobility force. But oh man, this Skink Chief's in the wrong neighborhood. That's definitely a rough situation there. The Mortis Engine already starting to get hit by the Solar Engine there, which of course, even if it just regenerates that damage, you're still starting to deal with its healing cap early on in the battle. Skink Javs and Skirmishers also going after the Mortis Engine, which doesn't have a whole lot of armor, so if he can take down this Mortis Engine, there's really not a whole lot that can deal with the Temple Guard. That being said, looks like some of the Javelins also having to be used here on the Fell Bats, which is a bit unfortunate, but oh man, that Mortis Engine is just taking so much damage here, and again, even if it heals up, the fact that it's lost so much of its healing cap is going to be devastating, and these Blood Knights are not able to get away from the Temple Guard there, getting caught up. Speaking of getting caught up, that Skink Chief is out of there. Poor little Skink Bro is going to be running for the hills, but you can see Temple Guard pushing forward. They're going to take this infantry fight all day, no problem, and yeah, the trees unfortunately are going to be blocking some of the shots of the Solar Engine. You can see bats and zombies coming down, trying to bog down the Solar Engine there, but yeah, things are not looking great for the vampires so far, although it's definitely not out of the realm of possibility. These Temple Guard are going to be very hard to deal with without the Mortis Engine, and the fact that it's taken so much damage already means it's going to really struggle to get the damage done that it needs to. Red Duke's coming down, but this is incredibly dangerous because Krokar's literally standing right behind him. So that was probably the worst place he could have dived into, because Krokar is now going to start sticking him in the side there, and he just doubles down here with the Terrorgeist. I'm not really sure why, but the Red Duke, you can see, took some nasty swipes from Krokar there and still is not able to get back up in the air. Because the dragon has such a big hitbox, it struggles to get around through the trees, and the Terrorgeist also being down here is very dangerous. Looks like Krokar does not have an attack order on them at the moment, but definitely should. The Temple Guard are going to cut through these skeletons and zombies. It just will take them some decent amount of time. But, yeah, the Red Duke definitely suffering at this point with the poison missiles. Krokar is still in here fighting. Looks like an overcast invocation. The Mortis Engine's finally involved in melee, which means it's going to be applying its drain effect all across the board, but I don't know that it's enough at this point. There's just so many Temple Guard left on the field, and Blood Knights are able to get here in the back line, collapse some of these skink cohorts, which is definitely nice. If you can get rid of some of the skink bodies clogging things up here, then the vampire swarm will be a lot more effective. But just another devastating shot there right into the face of that Terrorgeist. Looks like, actually, I don't know if it actually made contact there, but Crocky G pushing through, trying to get in on that Terrorgeist, but there are Blood Knights kind of blocking up his way here, so hopefully he just starts doing some attacks on the Blood Knights instead. But things were looking really bad for the vampires, but actually starting to stabilize a little bit. Zombies being summoned up. Oh, it looks like actually skeleton warriors being summoned up, but they're a little bit out of position, not able to protect the Red Duke from these Temple Guards. So as the Red Duke starts to take more and more damage, it's going to be bad. But again, the Temple Guard are going to be really hard to deal with. The Saurus warriors did manage to get cut through, but the Temple Guards all around still very healthy. We've also got Chameleon Skinks on station, still firing. The Terrorgeist is still very healthy, which is definitely an issue. But oh man, Krokar gets a Hand of the Gods blast right into that Mortis Engine, and it looks to be like it might get taken out here. I don't know. If I were Krokar, I might want to go after the Red Duke instead, and even I would use these Bastiladons to block the Red Duke on the ground and then go after him with Krokar. But at this point, he's still got plenty of Temple Guard left. Things are looking pretty comfortable despite the fact the balance power is, you know, relatively even. Krokar is just really not taking much damage here. So, yeah. It's rough stuff. And as the Death Star starts to form up in the center pocket, more and more of these Temple Guard can collapse in. A little bit of Miss Micro here. He definitely needs to get these Temple Guard moving into the center pocket as quickly as possible. All of the high-value stuff for the vampires is currently sitting in this big blob right here, so he needs to get these Temple Guard in there. And oh man, this is killing me. But yeah, we'll see. I mean, if he doesn't bring any support to Krokar, Krokar's going to die. But at this point, he has the advantage if he will just bring these Temple Guard in to help. I mean, there's like 150, 200 Temple Guard just standing around right now. So, yeah, they're finally getting involved in the battle here, coming to collapse on this center pocket, and he just needs to finish off the Blood Knights and re-secure the Laser Lizards here. Nice Breath Attack going down, does a ton of damage to those Temple Guard, but the Terrorgeist Breath Attack, on the other hand, does a little bit, won't do as much, but at this point, yeah, things are still looking pretty rough. The Blood Knights have actually been able to survive for a surprisingly long amount of time, but Krokar, I'm not really sure what Croc Buddy's doing. He's not really focusing on the targets that he needs to, but as the Temple Guards start to collapse here, hopefully they'll be able to stabilize and bring things back. There are a lot of skinks still around as well, so soon those Fellbats should be gone, and as more of the chaff starts to get cleared out, and the Temple Guard are able to get attacks on the high-value stuff, namely the Blood Knights and the Red Duke and so on, it'll be pretty bad. You can see Harmonic Convergence going down on Krokar, helping to counteract that Elsif a bit. He did take quite a bit of damage there, which is unfortunate, and no Revivification Crystal to heal him back up, but a nice shot there. Ooh, Krokar takes another hit. And we'll see if the Red Duke's able to just cycle charge this out. But the fact that he left those Temple Guards standing around and Krokar just standing in the center there for so long, I think might have cost him the game, just leaving Krokar without support there. But at this point, it's still pretty close. The Laser Lizards are going to be able to continuously apply pressure, and that blind effect in particular is going to be particularly strong here, as long as they can keep it up on the Red Duke. But another Breath Attack going down. And, yeah, we'll see. all the breath attacks at this point, but yeah, these Blood Knights are really the only ground force remaining, and Red Duke tries to come down to goon Krokgar here, but ooh, a narrow miss there, not able to apply that blind effect, and we'll see. I mean, it could be potentially just cycle charged out here, because the vampire units are just coming down and then immediately pulling back up into the air. Looks like he's also going to be getting another zombie summon potentially here to pin these guys in, so... Ooh, that blind effect though, solid contact from the laser lizard there, and the blind effect going to be severely nerfing the Red Duke's stats, so he won't get good contact there when he comes in to charge into Krokgar. But yeah, at this point, Blood Knight's collapsing on the back there, trying to get on that Bastildon, but the balance of power is starting to tip inevitably towards the Lizardman's favor, and man, that was probably closer than it needed to be. I feel like he kind of let the vampires in the back door there, but at this point, as long as he can keep Krokgar alive, it should be winnable. Of course, easier said than done, but you would think with all these Temple Guard and stuff around, and with this Terrorgeist being completely surrounded, but no, apparently Terrorgeists have just amazing mass and can pull through just about anything. So, yeah. It's not a great situation, that's for sure. But as long as Krokgar stays alive, then this battle is definitely very winnable. But he needs to catch these Blood Knights and finish them off so that he can start to force the air units to come to the ground. But another shot from the solar engine there. That solar engine's way off in the distance, but this is a particularly dangerous dive here. Again, I would probably be using the Bastildons to try and put them into melee mode and block the Terrorgeists on the ground, see if you can't stagger them. Another hit from the solar engine there, applying that blinded effect, although that breath attack did do some damage to Krokgar. Again, the blind effect going off all around the board. We'll see. We'll see if these Blood Knights are able to carry the day here. Super close battle, but I feel like Imperator definitely had the advantage there at one point, but just kind of left Krokgar there in the monster mash for way too long without support. But we'll see. Balance powers come back to even, so it's definitely still anyone's game. But if you can take out these Blood Knights to start to force some of these other units to come to the ground, then that's going to be ideal. But at this point, he's allowing his units to get isolated, which means the Blood Knights are going to be able to continue to just kind of pick off isolated units and continue to drag the battle out. And the longer the battle goes, the better it's going to be for the vampires here, of course, because this Terrorgeist is regenerating. The Red Duke probably has a bit more Winds of Magic, although it's doubtful. But Krokgar needs to be careful here. He's probably used up all the charges of his Cold-Blooded already, but yeah, we'll see. Ooh, tried to go after that Skink Chief there. I'm not really sure if that was worth it, but Krokgar also taking a hit from the Terrorgeist there, and I'm not sure he has the resources to protect at this point. He's not using this this solar engine to try and pin these large entities on the ground, so I don't know. It's definitely still anyone's game, and ooh, the vampire's even pulling ahead now slightly because of the damage being done to the heroic units of the Lizardmen. It's going to start to have leadership issues, so yeah, I think the vampires are going to be able to win this one. I don't know. It's still super close, but Krokgar gets a few good attacks on the Terrorgeist here. That could definitely change things, and that Terrorgeist is taking a beating right now, so this could be it. The Red Duke's coming down, trying to get in Krokgar, and oh man, he gets a brutal rear charge there. Actually terrifies Krokgar away, but did Krokgar go down there? That's the question. He has 16 HP left. Holy cow, so if he's not down, he's going to be down on the next charge. Granted, the Terrorgeist is crumbling now, so that has tipped the balance of power back in the Lizardmen's favor. Holy cow, what an engagement there. Krokgar just getting a few swipes on that Terrorgeist was all it really took to finish things off here, and now he needs to keep these infantry, make sure he stays with Krokgar just in case he comes back from routing, because if Krokgar dies, that's going to be a much bigger leadership issue, so, or maybe not, maybe he's just going to let him go at this point, but, Yeah, looks like the Blood Knights and the Terror Guys just content to try and finish off this Skink Priest here. Obviously, if he can finish off the leadership of all these units. But Krokar, with 16 HP left, is still alive. And as long as he's standing in this big pocket, then the Vampire troops will have to charge down, you know, and around to try and get to him there. So the Terrorgeist is still crumbling. It's regenerating, but the crumbling is outpacing the regeneration, if ever so slightly. But the longer that the Vampire player waits at this point, it's going to be worse and worse, because once that Terrorgeist disappears, the Red Duke is pretty much, I'm not going to say he's done for, but it's going to be incredibly difficult to work through the rest of these Temple Guards. So I'm not convinced. Here comes the final charge, and Krokar goes down, but is it enough? Is it enough to swing the balance of power? The Terrorgeist also comes down, and these Blood Knights charge in. The Terrorgeist is pretty much done for at this point. He's going to try and pull through, but the Temple Guard's getting solid attacks there, and the Terrorgeist is done. These Blood Knights also getting caught up and just taking damage, and at this point, it's pretty doubtful. The Red Duke's going after the Laser Lizard very aggressively, but the Blood Knights, on the other hand, are up to 203 kills, but they're taking damage from those Temple Guards, so we'll see. We'll see what happens here. The Blood Knights are crumbling, and the Red Duke's trying to go after, but there we go. That's what I wanted the entire time, was for these Bastildons to be pushing around the Vampire flying units, to be keeping them on the ground and applying a stagger to them. So the Blood Knights are wiped out, and at this point, the Lizardmen are going to take it home. But what a close battle, man. I do feel like the Lizardmen kind of let the Vampire player back in. If he had stayed a little bit more focused there on that center engagement, and when Krokar was getting gooned very aggressively, brought all those Temple Guard in, you know, all at once, it might have been different. But wow, what a close game, man. Very well played to both players, and I do believe that does mean Imperator is going to be your champion today. So very well played. Hope you guys enjoyed watching. Whew, that was such a back and forth game. What an epic final. Wow. Whew. That was intense. Whew. Man, oh man. Alright, looks like there might be one more, potentially. Let's see. Okay, so it looks like Imperator is actually going to be facing off against Skulls. I'm not sure. This must be from the draw earlier, but we'll see. We'll see. Let me hop in here and we can have a look. Oh, Gobbo's done streaming? Well, let's see where the old Gobbo King ended up here. So if we have a look... Nope, Shetland's still trying to talk to me. Here's the thing, though. Based on the way it is right now, if Imperator wins, he's the tournament winner. If he loses, then I think it actually goes to Goliath, who owns the tiebreaker against Void Lulls. So very, very interesting. Yeah, we're gonna have one more game here. I guess these guys couldn't find each other in the first round, but in terms of the rest, looks like Gobbo finished 9th at 3-2. Let's see. Rame with the Tomb Kings was 7th. 8th was Ben the Barman with Norska. Empire at number 6. Chaos number 5 with Skull-X, which is the game that Imperator and Skull-X took a draw because they couldn't find each other, but they are going to be playing one more game here now, so we'll be jumping into that in just a moment. Let's see. So Goliath is at number 2. Void Lulls is number 3. Both 4-1. 4 is also 4-1, which is Xiphos with Arguelon. So lots of man. There are no repeats in the top 10 except for greenskins. There are 2 greenskin players. Oh, and I guess 2 chaos players as well. But wow, that's impressive considering how diverse the game is now. It just goes to show just how well balanced things have become over time. So. All right. Let's see. All right, looks like we've got the game. All right. Yeah, I think if he had held back the Mortis engine a little bit and not got shot so many times by the solar engines coming in, and then it probably would have gone a bit differently. It's hard to say. I do think that just purely on builds, the Lizardman player had the advantage there because he wasn't playing to the strengths of the Vampire Count player. He had Krokar on foot, lots of Temple Guard. He did have 2 big dinos and the Laser Lizards, but I mean the Laser Lizards themselves have so much utility, and the fire damage is really good against the Vampire Counts as well, that I don't disagree with that pick. I mean, the Skink Chief was probably a wasted investment. I would have just taken him on the ground just for the extra cold-blooded, and he can do ranged attacks that way. But, you know, it ended up being alright. Let's see. Just checking on some stuff here. Okay. I think this is the right one. Da-da-da. Yeah, the Krokar on foot thing, the main thing is that Krokar has a ton of mass on foot. He's actually really hard to knock over compared to a lot of infantry-only lords. He still has anti-large AP, and if he gets stuck, then he has the swiftness of Itzel to get him out. Granted, I mean, obviously you lose the terror. He doesn't have nearly as much HP. His combat stats are pretty comparable, although obviously he has less charge bonus, but I think his weapon strength is pretty close. Yeah, the main thing is that you take Krokar on foot to negate your opponent's anti-large bonus, because most people have the paradigm of that you're going to bring dinos, right? And of course Lizardmen probably are going to bring dinos. That's not an unsafe assumption. It's just that when your lord is on a dinosaur, you're kind of putting your most valuable unit, your most the unit that you need to invest the most in protecting in a situation where they could be at more risk. So yeah, that's basically the idea, is that you're negating your opponent's anti-large bonus. So yeah, if he actually doesn't get knocked around a lot, which is why in that battle he was taking a lot of damage from the Terror guys and the Red Duke every time they charge down from the air to hit him, is because he's, like, just Saurus in general, I think, have the highest mass of any infantry outside of the dwarfs. I could be wrong about that, but, like, Saurus are impossible to knock over and to pull through, so, you know, since he's a Saurus, he has similar mass, and just because of his animations and stuff, he does quite well when fighting big monsters on foot, I find, so, yeah, I mean, it's definitely an interesting pick, but cool. Looks like we're just about there. Yeah, it used to be that dinos were just the way to go against the vampires, but now that the Terror guys are better, it can be a bit of a different game. But the infantry rush, just in general, I find, of the Lizardmen is super strong. Saurus are just so cost effective. They're probably the most cost effective mid-tier infantry in the game, if I had to say. So, okay. Duke of Aquitaine, I don't know. I'm horrible at pronouncing French, but yeah, Red Duke is that's cool. Croxigors. How would I improve Croxigors? Probably just give them better combat stats. I don't understand why their combat stats are so bad. Like, their melee attack and defense is just really subpar for their cost. I mean, you look at other Monstrous Infantry in similar price brackets, and they just have better stats. So, because Croxigors already have relatively slow attack animations, if their attack misses because they have low melee attack, it's going to be a while before they get another swing, so that matters a lot more, right? So I honestly just think beefing up their melee attack and defense would be enough to make them better. But the Red Duke of Aquitaine. Yeah, Saurus Warriors, Longbeards, Chaos Warriors are pretty decent. I'm not crazy about them just because Chosen are amazing, but Graveguard are really good too, yeah. Those are probably your good mid-tier infantry. A lot of mid-tier infantry struggle right now, but those ones are all pretty cost-effective. War Dancers are also pretty good. The Sword Dancers. Spear Dancers, obviously. I don't know that they're necessarily mid-tier, though. Flagellants are kind of alright. They're not amazing, but Witch Elves are pretty good. Corsairs are pretty good. I guess there's a few other mid-tier infantry that's decent, but definitely... yeah, them having Rampage is an issue. I agree, and I don't know how they could apply an effect that takes that away. Like if you had them near a skink hero, or you know, just a unit of skinks, they don't Rampage. But that's how it's supposed to be in tabletop. So yeah, Chosen were awful in game 1. They were just not even close to cost effective. They were really terrible, but they've become a lot better over time. Yeah, White Lions are trash, even though... well, the White Lion stats aren't even that good, though. And the biggest issue with White Lions is their health is terrible. Yeah, Sisters of Slaughter I would class as an elite infantry, but they're amazing. They're one of the best infantry units in the game by far, but... Actually, and this is just my own personal paradigm. Other people have different opinions, but I think that more often than not, Sword and Shield Infantry is the better way to go right now over Great Weapon Infantry. Like, Sisters of Slaughter, generally I prefer over Hargonite Executioners. sometimes that's different, but like chosen with shields I prefer over chosen with great weapons, or chosen with halberds. Usually, again, sometimes that's different, but like Storm Vermin, Sword and Board are super good. What am I missing? Sword and Board champions are actually quite good as well. Savage Orcs are not great. Savage Orc Biggins are one of the best units in the game. That's my opinion on those two. Other Sword and Board units, I would love to see Sword and Board Black Orcs. I think that would be awesome. And it would also give the Greenskins a good defensive unit, which they don't have. I mean, granted, the Greenskins aren't really supposed to be defensive anyway, and it wouldn't be as defensive as like a chosen with shields, obviously, but yeah. What else? What other shielded units, high tier shielded units? There aren't really a whole lot besides the ones I've listed already, but I guess Ironbreakers is what I'm forgetting. Ironbreakers are amazing, especially the Regiment of Renown, but yeah, Sword and Shield Infantry definitely in a good place right now. Like even lower tier stuff like Empire State Troop Swordsmen, Night Gobos, things like that, definitely is advantageous. Yeah, Ironbreakers are amazing. Temple Guard actually have halberds, so they're a little bit of a different paradigm, but alright, looks like these guys are getting loaded in, so we will get it rolling here. And again, so for those of you guys just joining, these guys were supposed to play in round 1, but they never quite connected. So now, because Imperator is currently in first place with a draw, we need to go back and replay it to make sure that he is still in first. If Imperator wins, he wins the tournament. If he loses, then the winner will be Goliath with the greenskins. So just as a quick reminder, as these guys are getting set up, this is the standings right now. Imperator 4-0 with 1 draw, so if he wins here, that'll be it. Let's go ahead and look at the army composition. So for Chaos, my favorite lord in the game by far, Big Bird, Sarthrel the Everwatcher, front and center. He's got Final Transmutation and Plague of Rust. We've got some Chaos Marauders in the front line. He's got some Aspiring Champions, 2 Dragon Ogre Shaggoths, very interesting, Chaos Warriors with halberds, and out to the flanks, some Marauder Horsemen, 3 of them. For the Lizardmen, a very heavy skirmish build here with some Chameleon Skinks mixed with Chameleon Skinks. Okay, so just 5 Chameleon Skinks, interesting. He's got Krokar up on Grimlock here, 2 Feral Cold Ones, and a Skink Priest Lore of Beasts. Interesting, you don't see Lore of Beasts too often. I would have liked to have seen Heavens, but Amber Spear and Flock of Doom, so looking for more of a damage focus from the old Skink Priest here. In terms of infantry, he's got similar infantry line, 3 Temple Guard with a Saurus, and 2 Skink Cohorts. No Javelins, no MLG action on them, unfortunately, so a 4-way tiebreaker, 5-way tiebreaker, yeah. We'd have to do an entire Swiss comp just with the ties, so. Yeah, Saurus do well against armored units because they have good melee defense, and they even have good AP. I mean, they just have a great total weapon strength. Like, if we look at these Saurus here, they have 52 total weapon strength with 75 unit models. That's insane. With 18 AP, like, it's great, but yeah, Tomb Guard I would say are mid-tier. They're 750, so for me, mid-tier is about 600 to 900, give or take. That's kind of what I consider mid-tier infantry, but yep, looks like we're getting underway, so Big Bird going to be pushing up. Really doesn't have much to fear from the Chameleon Skinks with his heavy missile resistance, but yeah, we'll see. Amber Spear is going to be pretty good against the Shaggoths, I would imagine, so we'll see how that gets used as well. Didn't notice, actually, one of these Marauders does have some throwing axes, which, of course, could be good against the Dinos, but yeah, Sarthrel, happy to soak this fire here. He will take some HP damage, but it's better than some of these other squishier units soaking this. I am a little bit concerned, though, about how he's going to deal with the Temple Guard. Again, a little bit of a throwback to last time, but I mean, he does have these Chaos Warriors in the center, and Sword and Board Chaos Warriors will actually trade reasonably cost effectively with Temple Guard. They have good stats, 10 AP, decent overall, but looks like getting a little bit over aggressive here. This is very dangerous for Sarthrail, dropping an Overcast, Final Transmutation, but actually just regular Final Transmutation, but it looks like the Shaggoth's going to follow up and suddenly turning the tables on Krokar. This could potentially be bad, but Sarthrail is definitely taking a beating here, so I'm not really sure who's getting the better end of that engagement. You can see these Feral Cold Ones have got a little bit out of position here and are just going to get enraged. Granted, only 450 points, and they will be able to come in and do some decent damage to some Chaos Warriors. A nice Amber Spear there, making some contact with those Chaos Warriors. So, yeah, the Warriors of Chaos definitely got the south end of that engagement, I think, because Krokar could pull back and heal up. Sarthrail took way too much damage there, and if Sarthrail goes down, I think that could spell doom just purely based on leadership for the Warriors of Chaos. But Chaos Marauders getting kited out here, going to get charged by Feral Cold Ones. This area is definitely going in favor, although now Big Bird and the Shaggoths turning their attention to that poor Chameleon Skink there. Looks like another Final Transmutation going down, doing some good damage to a big blob here. Obviously, you want to be using that more against single entity models, but if you have a group, big blob, it can definitely be useful as well. Or, sorry, not the I'm getting confused. It's Flock of Doom, not Final Transmutation. I wish we had a Metal Slan. That would be badass. But anyway, besides that, you can see pushing forward here, Hand of the Gods making solid contact there with the Dragon Ogre Shaggoth, and we'll see these Marauders definitely going to take some heat on the way in, but they need to push forward and start up this infantry engagement as soon as possible. Now, Final Transmutation going down on that Skink Priest Lore of Beast there, and that will do quite a bit of damage to him. And oh man, don't fly back up over your own army, buddy. That would be bad. But yeah, Chameleon Skinks kind of kiting out these Marauder Horsemen, doing some really nice damage, and these Feral Cold Ones also probably will get enraged here, but again, only 450 points for that unit, so relatively cheap. Continuing to just poke away with that Flock of Doom and other type spells. This is definitely going to be a battle of attrition, I think, but we'll see. Shaggoth's pushing forward. The Saurus are going to be countercharging these Marauders here, so those Marauders will definitely get cut up by the Saurus, no problem. But obviously there's a Shaggoth involved as well, so it's not exactly a one-on-one. But meanwhile, in the backline, these Marauder Horsemen have really been wasting their time and resources going after these Feral Cold Ones instead of, say, like Krokar. Granted, he does still have the two Shaggoths to deal with Krokar, but the Shaggoths are starting to take some damage, and there's a lot of Temple Guard on the field as well. Krokar also pushing up and around, looking to get in over on this side, but the Shaggoths are protecting. Maybe not, though. It looks like they might actually be diving into the center, and this Shaggoth in particular is taking quite a bit of damage, and oh man, that Amber Spear was devastating. Did you see that? That just cleaved through like the entire Chaos line there, so man, I've really been underestimating the Amber Spear. Maybe I need to have a second look at some Magic Missile spells, but man, this Chameleon Skink, again, just zoning out this entire pocket of Marauder Horsemen, so some really excellent Lizardmen play here from Imperator. And at this point, things are looking pretty bad for the Warriors of Chaos, despite the fact they've got two relatively healthy Shaggoths and these Chaos Warriors with halberds. Just nothing can stop the inexorable force of the Lizardmen infantry at this point. The Chaos player, I think, invested way too heavily in anti-large. Yeah, honestly, should have just brought Shielded Chosen here. They could have cut through this infantry of the Lizardmen, no problem, and then you have someone like the Summoners of Rage or something else to deal with the big dino. This double Shaggoth is a huge overinvestment in terms of dino killing power. You really don't need this much to even take down Krokar, so I think that the army composition for the Warriors of Chaos was kind of skewed from the beginning and was really going to struggle to take on what the Lizardmen had brought here. So it does look like, at least for the time being, the Imperator is probably going to take this. Big Bird's in the wrong neighborhood, just getting bullied by Krokar. And Big Bird, a very strong, very tanky lord in some situations, but in a mano-a-mano with an anti-large armor-piercing monster like Krokar, it's going to be a bad time. You can see he actually falls over, and yeah, that's going to be it. So with his death, the Warriors of Chaos are going to have general leadership issues all across the board. Obviously, Krokar not wanting to necessarily take a head-up fight with a Shaggoth, but at this point he's just kind of waiting, and it does look like the Chaos player admits defeat there. So yeah, that Lizardman player, man, very well played to Imperator. Hope you guys enjoyed watching. That is going to conclude the tournament, and yeah, my pleasure, Shetland. It was a lot of fun. Definitely had a great time. So yeah, magic is powerful indeed, and that Amber Spear was quite the one. So that will be all for today, folks. Thank you all once again for joining. It's been a ton of fun. Congratulations to Imperator for carrying the tournament. Thanks again to Shetland for hosting and allowing me to cast, and thanks to all the players for playing, providing us with some awesome battles, some great entertainment. So yeah, if you do like this sort of content, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that bell notification on this channel so that when I upload new videos and streams, I do plan on streaming more often now that I've got my new PC set up for streaming. I will be hopefully streaming more often, but if that is the kind of thing you like, go ahead and show some support. Thank y'all so much again for joining and watching. It's been a ton of fun, and we'll see you next time.